Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What is going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism back with yet another live video for you. It is Friday. That means it's time for another Jeranism Friday Lounge. What would Friday be without a lounge? I guess just another Friday. We're on to number 44, the dreaded Illuminati number of 44. And I called it Warp Speed for all the obvious reasons. But I think it's hilarious that today we can be all the anti-vax we want. Because now that's what's being promoted. That Trump says a vaccine's coming, and so of course the media now, everybody's against vaccines. They're the worst thing ever. They're not tested. It's not safe. So we'll join that train today and say that warp speed is ridiculous. Moonshot is ridiculous. Vaccines are ridiculous, and that is okay to say today. Now, come December, probably not. But for now, it's okay. So welcome to the show. We've got a couple panel members with me, I believe. I don't know who's here. Let's go check. Yeah, first we've got the great, the wonderful Iru Landucci. Iru, welcome to the show.
Hey man, what a presentation. I don't even pay you yet. So at least wait for the super chat to present me like that, man.
All right. I'll wait. Yeah. Send all, all the
yeah,
super chats.
Well, now you are obligating me to pay you.
I know. I told you I'm going to start using you for some graphics that I need, so that's the way I'm going to take you. We also have, and I turned up the volume, guys, because I know somebody called yesterday, I think it was on yesterday's show, and said that my shows are too quiet, so the volume should be way up. If it's not, I don't know what to tell you. I can't turn it up anymore. It'll blow up in my headphones. So we also have, speaking of very loud and obnoxious, Dave Weiss. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, you didn't pay me for that intro.
Oh, that's true. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Good.
What's going on?
Same old, another day, another dollar. Rodrigo just was asking me if my child's on the way. I don't know yet. 2 days away from the due date, but I guess that doesn't mean much. So sometime soon, if it happens during this show, Dave will take over, I guess. And how about Rodrigo, Ferrari Nunes? Rodrigo, welcome to the show.
How's it going, guys? Doing well. Just getting back on track with work and stuff. Finally, now after, 5 months? Yeah, the baby is now, getting more onto his feet and stuff, and it's really nice spending a lot of time with him. So it's good, and getting a bunch of work done, and finally getting more
nice
where things are flowing a little bit better. So yeah, it's good. Thank you for having me, man.
Does he have a job yet?
A job?
Yeah. Oh no, he's a slacker. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little too soon, I guess. I give him a little time. And we also have Alex Stein, Conspiracy Castle. Alex.
Thank you, Jaron. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I do.
Okay,
I hear you
good.
great. I had the unfortunate experience of hearing you sing this morning.
Oh, yeah, my voice is terrible. See, but the thing is, Jaron, I'm making an album of pro-coronavirus songs like that woman, Patty Shukla, because her and I are going to go on tour.
Nice.
And we're going to sing to children. Yes, dude. So that's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to be pro-mask. I've decided to actually go all the way to the other side.
Might as well.
And I'm getting in the mask business. I'm opening a mask factory here in Dallas. I'm looking at a guy, an architect. So.
Put a mask on little babies. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, all babies need a couple masks. One around their mouth for sure. Two around their mouth, in my opinion.
Wait. You're way off. I think not all babies. That's ridiculous. Maybe 3 weeks and older. 3 weeks and older need a mask.
No, I'm talking about 3 hours.
Oh,
dude.
3 hours?
That baby is out of the womb. It needs a mask. I'm telling you, I'm developing a new baby mask that you can put. It's a fetal baby mask. It's the only fetal baby mask that it's not. Yes, it's going to be perfect for the newborn. It'll go on the head so delicately, and it'll protect it from that scary coronavirus. And it'll also, capture and take away all of its life essence at birth. So it'll be a two-pronged deal.
Perfect.
Remember that Travolta film, like the boy in a glass?
Oh, the bubble. Boy in the
bubble.
bubble. Yes. But this bubble is a cloth. This is a cloth bubble, I guess you'd say. It's definitely not. There's definitely air transfer through it. So I don't know why people like this crap, but regardless, I'm going to be rich.
It's the way to go if you want to be rich. It would be fetal baby masks. And thank you, McSizzle. McSizzle sent a super chat. Oh, please get this to Iru. Iru thanks you. Iru.
Yes, of course. Course. Thank you so much for that, man.
Thank you, McSizzle. And, so welcome, Bob. Bob's also here. Bob, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for taking a shower.
Hey, no problem. I figure you guys would all appreciate it for sure. So, yeah, I don't know what the topic is today. Let's see. Warp speed. Oh, hey, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, well, it's a warp speed in many different ways, but I pretty much named it warp speed because that's the stupid vaccine thing that they're going. I don't know if you guys saw the one that they're trying to go with in the UK, which is like moonshot, where they're going to test everybody every day. Have you seen this nonsense?
Test the whole population for 100 million or something.
Yeah, but they say they're going to test every day. So they say this way sports can open up again, because what will happen is if you're going to go attend a soccer game, well, then everybody tests in the morning, and then only the people that come back positive are allowed to go to the soccer game that night.
Oh, brother. So isn't the problem going to be that since they're actually testing for the genetic sequence contained in genome number 8, right? Chromosome number 8, excuse me. Isn't everybody going to test positive? And if that's the case, which the whole world would test positive, then we're cool, right? We shouldn't have anything to worry about. We're not going to contaminate anybody.
Yeah, you would think we'd have the quote-unquote herd immunity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Our herd contagion, one or the other. We're all contaminated, so what difference does it make? And that is so absurd because everybody has that chromosome, so theoretically everybody should test positive for it, unless of course they're alien, right?
Possible.
That's messed up.
It's ridiculous. It is getting.
Who knows how many different kinds of tests they came up with by now, right? As well, we don't know nothing about much of them.
No, these newer tests, or you mean the PCR tests that we know too much about?
The whole history of their testing stuff with the AIDS is another scandal, the way it was done in Africa and stuff. It's very similar. It's just the same.
So here in Connecticut, they've started having concerts again. You guys having music festivals or anything where you are?
No, not here in California.
Here they're raving here, but there's no masks and stuff. We had it last week.
Did you say raving? Raving is what you said?
Yeah, raving outside. Yeah, very loud rave that we could hear from our house from kilometers away, like kind of thing. At 9 to 11.
Here's the setup. It's an outdoor music venue, and they have a grid drawn out with boxes. So the entire field is boxed out.
Lovely.
Or if it's in a parking lot, it's every other parking spot. And you have your assigned box, 2 people to a box, and there's a security guard walking around going, making sure there's only 2 people in each box. I mean, it's kind of nice that you have a little space, but rather than being jammed up. But then my daughter was just telling me, she goes, the porta potties, you go to the porta potties, and they had this one Mexican woman running in every porta potty after somebody comes out and quickly desanitizing it.
Oh boy!
And she's like, could you imagine that, running into a concert porta potty and having to sanitize it after every person?
That woman doesn't die of the coronavirus. How does she not get it?
I said to her, I go, did you tip her? She goes, I gave her $40. It's all I had in my pocket.
Oh, God. Oh, that is ridiculous.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
So, Dave, to all your friends and family, are they all waiting in line for the vaccine? Are they very excited about it?
I was talking to William Gensky today, and his thought is that they're going to be surprised when, did you see the article? I don't know if I sent you the article. There's an article out saying how they have to figure out a way who gets the vaccine first because they're not going to have enough, and they don't want people panicking that they're not going to get it. So they're already programming the minds of the masses that, it's coming, and if you're lucky, you'll get it in time before
it's like the new iPhone.
So is that spell going to work? Or when they say the vaccine's here, is 50% of the population going to say no effing way?
Well, I hear that is the number. I don't know how true that is. Again, polls are ridiculous. 50? Yeah, that's the supposed number. 50%. Well,
I'm going with 50. I'll go with 50.
Well, actually, I think they say it's 50% say they'll get it right away, and the other 50% say they're hesitant about it. So it's not like they're saying 50% say yes and 50% say over my dead body, which is what it should be.
50% say yes, and then 90% of the other 50 will be like, all right. If I can't get on an airplane, or I can't get on a bus, or I can't go into the supermarket, I'll take it.
Well, I'd venture to say, though, that everybody on this panel and everybody in our audience, we've got a 100% no rate.
Yeah, definitely.
There's 3 thumbs down, Bob, so maybe you're wrong.
A little.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I could be.
A lot of people hating the show, yeah. I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous to me. I think that I don't know what the percentages are. And I hate that they use this whole thing where you have to, if you go to work, you have to do what work says. I mean, I get that for the most part if you're hiring people, but what I don't understand is like why is it okay? I guess this is going a weird direction. Colin Kaepernick, right? Kneeled at the national anthem. And a lot of people say, oh, well, he should be able to kneel because that's his First Amendment right, which I would kind of agree with. But then the other side of the coin is, well, no, he can't because he's at work. And just like when anybody goes to work, you have to follow the rules, right? That's what they say. I don't know. It's just ridiculous to me that you would think that why is it okay? Everyone's saying now these players can kneel, these guys can do whatever they want. Well, why can't you, if you work at a grocery store, say, no, I'm not going to get this vaccine? Or if you're a nurse, why you can't say that? I mean, don't all nurses have to get a vaccine? Or a flu shot at least, sorry?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
In Argentina, is the same thing. For example, my sister, which she studied and finished the career to be a doctor, she all the years it's like mandatory to give the flu vaccine. For example, she cannot avoid that.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing with somebody in Mrs. Family that's a nurse, or they're actually like an X-ray technician or something. But same thing, they have to get the flu, and they hate it. They despise it. Wouldn't get it if they weren't a nurse or in that position, but they have to keep that job.
Yep. You know what? Amanda just joined. I'll bet you she has something to say about this.
Hi, Amanda. Amanda, what's up? Amanda Vollmer.
Hey, my dudes. How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Doing
good. Is it true? We heard that you got fined for not wearing masks. Is this true or is this nonsense?
Okay, well, so I have a sign on my door that says nobody's allowed in here with a mask on.
Right.
So I kick people out of the store if they come in with the mask on.
Correct.
So obviously I maybe ticked somebody off, but at the same time, I served the health unit an affidavit, and I have these affidavits for anyone to use on my blog, yummy.doctor. And so I served them, and then the next day, these two police officers walk into my store, and they present me with a ticket for $880. And so I said, well, what's this for? And the one, you got your good cop, old cop and the young cop in this case, and he points to his mask on his face. I'm like, that's a charge? Like, pointing at his face. I'm like, no mask is what he said. I'm like, so I'm being fined for not wearing a mask? He's like, it's a charge under subsection blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. But for what did I do? Well, we're just here to deliver the ticket. I'm like, Jeez. You can't even tell me. You can't even tell me what I did wrong. He said, that's not the bylaw. The bylaw says I have exemptions. Everyone has exemptions. Well, that's not, blah, the thing. We're just here to give you this. And he's trying to leave. So then I decided to, so the younger guy was looking at me very attentively. And so I focused on him and I said, look, there's no virus. Okay. This is a Trojan horse for World War III. And that's what we're in right now. I said, are you going to be here for the people? Because you got to start thinking. This is continuing on. This is forward new normal garbage, and they're going to continue to suppress our freedoms. And are you going to be there for us, or are you going to protect them? And I just kept pleading with the young guy over and over again because, they're in deep hypnosis. So the only way to break through hypnosis is to ask them to think. And also I was pleading to his masculine, which was, we need you. I kept saying to him, we're going to need you, and soon. We need you, and we need you to protect us. And I think that guy probably slept awake with his eyes wide open that night because I think I got through to him.
That's awesome.
But, that's
nice
all
work.
I could feel to do in that moment was somehow plead to the authority because that, he's probably has a wife and kids and you know what I mean? So, right. But yeah, I'm going to fight. I'm fighting the ticket. I'm sending it back. I'm sending it with the affidavit on masks. And they won't want anything to do with me because I'll set a precedent and then they're finished. And then I've been serving all other groups and with the paperwork. So like the police are getting one and the local MP is getting one and the hospitals are going to be served. Everybody's getting served. Everyone's either going to get sued or they're going to have to change the policies. That's really where it's coming down to because they're going to do this second wave thing in the next few weeks. And it's going to be way worse than the first wave. And which is crazy because there's no cases, of course. There's nothing. This is all a big lie. They don't even have the statistics. Even with their faking the numbers, they don't have the statistics to back this up. There's no deaths related to their fake numbers. So if you click on blog there, click on the blog, you'll see you'll see that come up. So there's two. One, actually, both are really important. So the first one on the left, the red one there, that one's Dr. Stefan Lanka's incredible. I'm going to read this. If I get a spare second, I'm going to actually read this aloud for people to listen to when they're in their cars or whatever, because this is a nail in the coffin for this is over. This is garbage, right? It explains how the virus lies a hoax. It explains how the PCR test doesn't work. It explains how the rumor mill began in Wuhan. I mean, this is the most brilliant thing, and it's translated from the German, and it's a really good translation. So I've just have to get myself a good hour and a half without interruptions, which has been really hard to do. I know Kelly Brogan's been asking me for this, and so I'm going to get this done probably tonight.
Nice.
I'm going to read through it.
That's going to be amazing. Looking forward to that. Hey, if anybody needs a little pick-me-up and you've yet to hear Amanda's video that got removed, she got triggered the other day and did a rant called Enough is Enough. I got taken off of YouTube, but it's mirrored everywhere. Listen to it, and I recommend listening to it at 2x speed because it's amazing. I've listened to it twice. I'm going to listen to it again. So I'll put it in the chat for those of you
David,
listening.
that's why you have to listen to it 2 or 3 times because you're listening to it.
No, I got it. It just
yes,
up.
no,
It's good stuff. It's such good stuff.
Well, you know, there's
all right, listen to it 1.5. All right, 1.5.
You have to work up in baby
good
steps.
I like that. But you know, you just sound
you
sound
can
1.5 times smarter at 1.5.
And by the way, guys, we're looking at yummy.doctor, which is Amanda's new site. Very nice, by the way. I like it.
I have 3 different websites. This is my educational website. My yumnaturals.com is for my products.
Right.
And then I have the healingwithdmso.com. That's for the book.
Now, did you say something about...
So this is the second one there with the golden, you know, that is the... I'm actually going to update that because I have more information on that affidavit. So this is an affidavit of trust that you can send. You can print, like just copy it over into a Word document, sign your name to it, and you can print that out, and you can also email it out. I usually like to email first and then follow up with a hard copy that is sent via registered mail, and then you have the proof of service. And it's like the beginning steps to lawsuits if they don't change their terms. So basically, it presents them with information that they have to either refute, because it's an affidavit. So they have to refute all the facts and all the evidence that masks are dangerous, stupid, and irrelevant. And then if they don't, then they've tacitly agreed to the facts. So these are statement of facts in law. And then after they failed to rebut them, then there's a second, underneath, there's a second paperwork after the references. You'll see there's another chunk of information. You got to keep going. There you go.
Okay.
So that's now where they failed. So there's a failure to move forward. Like if they haven't changed their behavior, they haven't changed the mask policies or any of this stuff, then you serve them with that. And then once that's done, then you can go about taking legal action against them. You can either do a class action lawsuit if you want, or you can take them to small claims court if you want, or you can take, a trick, by the way, is go through small claims, and then this is actually not really small claims, but it'll get bumped up to the higher courts, and it'll save you a bit of money if you do, at least in Canada, if you do it that way. So that's how you got, because we have to start suing them. Right. They're breaking the law. They're corrupt. They're criminals. They should be in jail. And we have to stop them. So this is muscle. This is what we have to do. And it's happening. I mean, Rocco Galletti's suing the Canadian government. We have lawsuits coming left, right, and center. I mean, you can't force somebody to wear a mask when you're not a doctor. I mean, politicians and governments have no right to tell or stores have no right to tell people that they have to wear a mask or get out. Right. Okay? Because they could have all kinds of exemptions and situations and health situations that have never been assessed by anybody. And right. That puts them in harm, right?
It's equivalent to a medical intervention. They have to have a medical license to do that.
That's right. That's right. So they're breaking law on multiple counts, and they need to be taken to task. This is what everybody needs to do. At least serve them the information, because the thing is, when you legally serve them this, somebody there has to actually read it. And you might actually wake up some people. With the information.
I have the similar letters that I carry with me whenever I go into a store, ready to hand it to the manager, and nobody ever says anything to me. I just walk in. I'm the only one without a mask. No one says anything. I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm kind of like okay with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, at my town, they know don't mess with her, obviously. You
Yeah.
know, but at the same time, they're getting more the brainwashing, the hypnosis, which I really think that the technology, the nervous system patents they have on the television that changes the nervous system. I think they've mastered that, and we're seeing evidence of that because this behavior, this hypnosis is deep in people. They're really not getting it. They're really not clicking with what's
Amanda,
going on.
I heard you talk about this earlier, and I'm totally agreeing with you. Today, a friend of mine who's a school teacher in an elementary school, they have to wear a mask all day in school, and after 4 hours, they have what's called a mask-free break, where they get to go out in front of the school, and the kids play, and the teacher's allowed to take off her mask, and the kids take off their mask. There was a guy in line across the street for some store, and he started screaming at them that they didn't have masks on. He called the police. They had to call the police because they were afraid. I mean, the hypnosis is the best word. That people are completely brainwashed and they've lost their minds, and maybe the lack of oxygen is also helping make it worse.
Well, I mean, I went out. I actually had a restaurant visit for the first time since way before Christmas, okay? Because I go to this place in Bob Cajun to pick up my oil that I use to make a lot of my products, and I have to draw, it's a bit of a ways away, and it's actually a fish and chips place because he gets this really good oil for me for bulk and a really good price, so it's worth the drive to go. And I noticed their lounge was open, their outdoor, their outdoor patio, and my daughter was with me, and she's like, let's eat. I'm like, okay, let's eat. So now you have to sign in right at the front and all this crap. So there wasn't anybody there. So I just signed in as IP Freely as my name. And then I went in and sat down, and the woman came and, took our orders and stuff, and it seemed normal. But beside us were these 4 people that definitely were not family. Like you could tell there were different groups of people here. And they're sitting no masks because you don't have to, right? And the one woman is actually saying how she failed yesterday because she didn't social distance really that well yesterday. She felt really bad about that. So she's saying this as she is literally sitting like inches away from people that she's definitely not socially distancing from and not wearing a mask from, talking about how she's failed at her social distancing yesterday and she felt really guilty about it, and how her niece is so wonderful because she wears masks that have Black Lives Matter written on it, and she's a hero. And I'm like, I wanted to vomit. Like, I was so hard to eat my food listening to these people contradict themselves in the moment, and they really can't think it through. I've even had people where I do bring them into clarity. Like, I spend a lot of time with them and I bring them into clarity about it, and they seem to get a moment where they get it, but then they go home and they watch CNN half the night. And it's done. It's over. Like it's back. Like the glossy-eyed stare is back again. So I really think that, like, do any of you guys actually watch television? Like, I don't have television in my house. I haven't had television in my house for 20 years. So I don't succumb to the brainwashing, it doesn't get in my subconscious. It's not in the background everywhere. I think a lot of these people, it's really a TV problem for the most part. I know there's fluoride, there's other things, but that television is really got to be the main depth of the brainwashing. It just has to be. I don't know another way to explain it because it's deep. They just cannot think at all.
But if they watch CNN and Fox, don't you think they're well balanced?
Yeah, and you know what, Amanda? I've been watching. I have to confess, I've been watching Doogie Howser reruns this week, and everybody on that show wears a mask, so. I don't know what to say.
Well, I think people fail to realize, too, that the pharmaceutical companies own all the media. I mean, that's where they get, well, not own, but at least that's where all their advertisement comes from. So what direction do you think the media is going to push this virus? I mean, they need everybody to be scared. Everybody's got to talk to their doctor. Everybody's got to get tested. Everybody's got to do the protocols. Everybody's got to wear masks. It's just ridiculous. Did the head of the CDC say this week, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Did he actually say that the mask protects him better than the vaccine? Remember when it was, you couldn't say anything bad about vaccines, and now they're even going as far as to say, imagine if we would have said that, a year ago. We would have said, oh, we're totally anti-vax because we think people should just wear a paper cloth on their face, and they'll be fine. They don't need vaccine. They would have blown up. I would have said, what? That's the craziest thing you ever said. Now that's okay. Now that's what they're saying. It's just so funny how it's whatever the mainstream narrative is at this time is allowed to be pushed, and anything going against that go against the CDC. So that's why the good thing about this show is we can be totally anti-vax today. Why? Because the CDC has said that vaccines are now scary. It's coming too fast. There's not enough. It's not safe. So we can say that all we want today. So today's a good anti-vax show without being taken.
Yeah,
Nice.
but Jaron,
and
since
so
Trump said it's not mandated, now the Dems are going to say it has to be mandated, though.
Uh-oh, you're right. Now, this is why it only works today. Tomorrow, another story. Now, so Trump said it's not going to be mandated. All right, now the next story will be tomorrow that CDC Director Robert Redfield says that it should be mandated. And masks are, I couldn't believe when he said that. Oh, no, this mask protect. How has the whole story gone from the masks don't do anything to they do something? Now they're the greatest invention in ever. Amanda, I was talking about it last week where now they're saying, oh, the flu numbers are the lowest ever. The reason they say the flu numbers are so low now is not because they're reclassifying all flus as COVID, but because we're all wearing masks. That's why nobody's getting the flu. What are we supposed to do? I mean, these people who watch the news, they believe that. They think it's legit.
Oh, it's so hard to hear it. It's like it's just watching these. It's like watching a world falling apart mentally, right?
Yeah.
It's like watching humanity descend into madness. That's what it looks like to me from when I look around, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the fall. It's like we either rise through this or we fall. There's only two choices, and hopefully that a lot of these people catch themselves before they fall in too deep. But I think unfortunately a lot of them are way too far gone, and they just really they really do believe that their government is there for them, and they really do feel like they're virtuous in their behavior, like putting masks on their children and making them line up holding chains like slaves. They look exactly like slaves, where they have the spaces again apart, where they put
really
their hand on the shoulder of the person in front, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what slaves and prisoners look like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're training everybody this way. This is why they don't even care about the vaccine as much as making sure so many are following the orders of the behavior and the masks. So
by being controlled, you're part of the solution, right? That's what they're telling people. I told people, man, it's amazing. There's this commercial on the radio when I'm driving around that tells you to look around. It says, stop, look around you right now. Do you see people walking on the street? Now realize that there's ones that are wearing masks and ones that aren't. And the ones that are wearing masks are part of the solution to the problem we're all facing, and the ones not wearing masks are part of the problem. I was like, holy shit. I mean, this is going out to millions of people who are hearing this nonsense, and it's just brainwashing them. And then they feel like, oh, it's part of the solution to be. And then what do? They tell on each other. This is what they want. Now somebody obviously ratted you out, right? And said, oh, she's not wearing a mask. She also has a sign on her. I mean, somebody told on you. Basically, another human being went out to get you damaged by your no mask policy.
Oh, yeah. And what's amazing is I'm fine with it in the sense that I know how suppression and expression work. I understand nature. I understand the spiritual law and natural law. And if you ever want to try to destroy someone, you don't go at it overtly. If you go at it overtly, you always make them stronger. If you go at it covertly, you could try undermine them. But when somebody complains overtly and then gets some problems coming your way, what ends up happening is you actually makes you stronger. Like that's what happened the first time when I got attacked by people and everything that went down with my, the global news hit piece and all that stuff. What happened? Yeah, I had to put out a lot of fires. Yeah, I lost all my pages and all this stuff. It looked bad at the beginning. But what happened? It put me on an international stage. It got my voice louder. More people were hearing my message. More people were being validated by what I was saying. And it just keeps going like that. So fine, you want to try to overtly stop me. It's just going to make it stronger, because that's how suppression versus expression works in nature. You can never suppress something too long before there's a workaround done. So it's just nature. So fine, you want to give me a ticket, I'm going to take it into court, and I'm going to create a precedent, and then everyone else who's in court can use that precedent, and you guys are done. You lose your weight or your power. They're just bleeding themselves out. So I'm not worried about it. I don't mind.
It's going to backfire. It's going to backfire big on them, Amanda. And that's the thing that I don't think they thought it through, especially when dealing with you, but maybe next time they'll think again. And hopefully other people are going to see what you did and act accordingly. the exact same way. Because you're right. What they've done is they've literally given you a stage internationally, at in previous points and hopefully in future occasions where you're going to be heard by a lot of people. And that's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It's because these are individuals who are flailing. I see it. I do. I feel like they're falling away because they're mad. They're not well, right? They're not with God. They're not with the light. They're in dark places and they do a lot of crazy things. And that's very unstable. And that's not supportive to where people who are awakening are going. I mean, I know from my own experience, I'm going through all kinds of shifts and changes in my own body and my own spirit. I feel more connected spiritually. I feel like there's other parts of my spiritual gifts coming online that I didn't really use much before. My intuition's getting stronger. Like I feel better and better as I continue to do this inner work. And while others are so focused on the external projection that they're losing themselves in the illusion and they're not finding themselves, which is really the whole point, I think, of all of this is to drive you deeper into yourself. And so those of us who are and are doing the work and are listening to ourselves properly and are not falling for the fear and are, standing up in our bravery and our truth and making sure we're living our purpose, we're going to just continually be supported. And that's just the way this is going. And those who want to keep doing harm to life, it's going to cause a self-catastrophe. It's going to implode upon itself. And that's why I'm like, you know what? They're going to go into their little Babylon, smart city, la-di-da, AI tech, crazy land. And that is going to, like that landslide that happened in, where was that just yesterday? Bali, or I don't remember where it was now, or Indonesia or something. There was huge, huge landslide. And it was like, yeah, they're just going to bury themselves. They're going to implode. The Babylon's just going to crumble in on itself. Just step out of the way, be smart about it, stay in your power, stay in your truth, be brave, speak what you need to speak. Don't have to be violent. You don't have to be angry. You can just speak from the heart, which can be super powerful, just like my enough is enough rant. Inside my body, I was calm. I wasn't angry. That wasn't anger. That was power. That was different, right? So it's like that. And then people hear it and resonate with it. And that's just going to spread like how things should naturally spread, rather than their warped, weird ideas that they cannot sustain life. It's against every principle of this place. Right. So they're going to go kamikaze. That's why just be wise. Like, buy a good generator, make sure you have stockpile food and water and things so that while this crumbling phase happens, you're safe, you're out of the way, and you've got your self-sustaining unit, you've got your people, you've got, some backup money or other currencies or other materials to trade with or whatever, so that you're not sucked into it by force, because that's how they're going to do it. They're going to say, well, you can't come here unless you have the vaccine or you have your certificate or whatever, right? And we're not going to play that. We're not going to go into that, right? So that's all, just to be smart about it. And I'm like, I'm buying all kinds of things. I'm going to sew my own clothes. I don't need to buy any of that stuff. I don't need any of that stuff. So the more dependent you are on Babylon, the easier it is for them to take you in. And that's what they want. That's why they want to crash the economy. They want as many people as possible on handouts, because then you depend on your big daddy for food and the bread lines and all that stuff, and you're gonna be sucked in. Right. And so that control. Right. So that's
you're right, and that's unfortunate too. I mean, that's really sad, but you're absolutely right, because everybody's going to be dependent on them. Therefore, they're going to follow those rules, or they're going to watch themselves and their families starve and do without. And yeah, it's a very effective control mechanism. It really is.
And that's what it's all about, is control, right? I mean, that's why they want the economic destruction. Like you said, there's a dependence on the government for every single thing, and then they're here to save us, and they're going to guide us to our technocratic future, and they're eventually going to have this guaranteed income, and it's going to be tied to some sort of social credit score. But it's all about control. My problem is, or where I'm a little bit worried, is the way that people have reacted to this circumstance, and where we say warp speed, is I'm afraid that they'll be able to put their things that they may have not thought they would get away with for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever. But I feel like now is the time that if they wanted to really move things up, like if they came out tomorrow and said that there was a social credit score beginning and that those who wear masks and get the vaccine, those are the people that will be allowed to fly and cross state lines and shop at Costco. I think that alone, even if those were the rules right there, a huge majority of people would fall in line and be very excited about their high social credit score. And it would be a little bit of virtue signaling and look at my score and I wear a mask and I care about others and I get the vaccine and I'm allowed to shop at Costco. And everybody else who stands up for freedom and the right to choose and liberty would be looked down upon. And I think they could do that tomorrow. That's what's worrisome to me is I wouldn't have thought that 6 months ago. You know, I would have thought, no, we're not even close to that. But now I look at it, I'm like, holy shit, just seeing how people succumb to, and you can just go back and watch these shows from basically 6 months ago where we all said, oh my God, there's actually people out wearing masks now. And then it was all of a sudden now for some reason there's like 25% of people wearing masks. And then all of a sudden we're like, now it's 75. And then before you know it, we were the only ones not wearing masks. It was like, holy shit, how did that happen so quick? And all they had to do to get people to wear them was make a few commercials and tell people they weren't allowed to shop at Costco if they didn't. That's all it took. So then I'm like, well, if that's all it takes to get people, then this whole idea of the social credit score could start tomorrow. I don't know. Somebody saved my line of thinking.
Well, what's amazing about that is how they've used fear, great amounts of fear. I mean, these people are so afraid.
Right.
They can't even think straight. Like they will jump out of my way if I'm walking around without a mask. Yeah. They either their mask protects them or not. It's just like either your vaccine protects you or not. Like what are you scared of, right? But that's how deep the fear programming is. It's in them. It's embedded in them.
It's so hideous what they're doing to children. I was in a building the other day to get. You have to take the elevator to get from the parking to the floor. I was only going up 2 floors, and I get in the elevator, and there's a 10, 12-year-old boy in there with a mask on by himself going up. And I stepped in without the mask. The boy was in a panic. He's staring down at the floor. He's shaking. He was in total fear that this man got on without a mask. And I didn't say anything because I was thinking the door's going to open. His parents are going to be right there, and it's going to turn into a whole thing. But the fear that these kids have is going to change their whole lives. It's going to change who they are.
You know what's so funny about that? Oh, go ahead, Eru.
No, I'm going to say, because I was listening to everything and completely agree. And about, the power of the television and that type of hypnosis that's, electromagnetic wave creates. I believe there is one which is more, more dangerous and more effective, which is the, the way that the people react to the principle of authority, because the television in the at the end is like a replicator of a message. You can use, of course, techniques to at least prepare the person to embrace more deeply and more effective the message, but what the people more are aware is about the authority which give the message. Because I can use the television, I can put Bob in front of television and nobody's going to give a damn what he said, because they don't be hypnotized by the authority, because they don't have for the majority of the people, Bob Nodera, I'm talking about Bob, it's not relevant, so you need to put someone, or the message is it's gonna give it's need to be given by an authority. And then you can use television, you can use a computer, you can use radio, in fact, because remember with the Word of Words, when they give at the beginning of the 20th century the transmission of, I believe was the Word of Words, that people are killing themselves because they believe that invention coming to the earth, things like that. But the most important thing is that the people believe who is given the message, and that is what they are experts in creating puppets.
You mean
people believe
You mean like Elon Musk? Elon Musk could come out tomorrow and say anything, that we actually live inside of a cat's belly. It would take off, and it would be on every, and there would be credibility behind it. Well, Genius says that we are living in a cat's belly, and people 99%
you can
chance.
see that in the market, how the future market operates. With the speculation, they create a society that believe just people that they are presented as genius. Mm-hmm. They create the heroes for the society. So it doesn't matter if that hero came up. Of course, the television is a more effective way because you can, embrace a lot of people at the same time. But it doesn't matter if television or he gives an act, in the free public on the stage. The thing is that
one thing, I would point out is that all these things work together, and we know to Operation Mockingbird how important news media, especially in the television and the radio, everything was to the Nazis and behind propaganda scheme. So at least when it comes to space and of course viruses and everything else, we know that the authority, what you're talking about, which is indeed, it goes way deeper, it comes from way before the news and the television, all that stuff, and the radio even, when they started printing, with the printing press, and they started printing dictionaries and the Bible and the authorities of the church and that kind of thing being imposed, because before that, there's a period where that wasn't so much the case. Even if you don't go there, right, we don't have to go there to see, that every technology that they can push on the cult of authority, they will. But I agree with you. But obviously, how the authority of space is inscribed has a lot to do with, especially not just television, but the news media in general, print, press, the people who give the
movies,
this thing called the news.
Movies.
And movies as well. But the 8:00 news, when the family is around the table eating and then they watch the news kind of thing every single day.
Completely agree. But if you put in contrast, for example, I can, upload a web page with, no authority, and nobody's going to take me serious. And, that is why they start using the fake news tag for alternative media. Right. Because of course they are attacking us with that method, but also that, for instance, now with social media, right? You've talked about the Cambridge Analytica, and one of the ways that they go and program people to follow their kind of memes and the little slogans and stuff is to go, instead of with authority first, they go through fake accounts and flood them with memes that they created. And try to create it from the bottom up. And then they have their authority figures that come out and then take up the bad actors that they roll out to take up those memes that seem to come out of nowhere, right? Yeah, I believe that, in this battle, this three, this World War, the third World War is completely in the mind. Right now, it's in the mind. It's not in the battlefield with guns. That is for other type of inventions. The real war for me, and at least in my short period of study, this topic is the real war is between Israel and the Muslims, and I don't agree with any of those religions, but they have like a really deeply religious or exotic or mystical thing with where is going to be the third temple of Solomon, so and they are getting out their own eyes, and Israel has, of course, England and United States and the OTAN and the ONU for fighting back with the Iran people, and Iran has their own, of course, allies. But that is the real war in terms of the battlefield. The rest, like us, the war is in our minds. That is why we have the Tavistock Institute or the School of Frankfurt, of the cultural Marxism. Exactly, all that kind of thing. But, and I finish with this. Of course, they already know that we as regular and normal people, we are going to use internet to spread our message. Right. And for me, that is something that they are they are just waiting the time where this thing is come out in terms of that we as a regular people, now we have a power to give a message,
right,
and be listened by a lot of other person, and
that's
was
a problem,
only
right?
belong to the elite.
Right. It's like
With
the social.
television.
Did you watch The Social Dilemma, right, on Netflix? I mean, the hilarious part of that, is that they're acting like the biggest problem that there ever was is all that you need is to put info in front of a few people's faces. And if a few other people believe the same thing, well, then you have a problem because it gives it this false sense of truth and facts. And there's, just because there's a few people who agree, and then you're like, hello, that's what we've been saying. What you did is you sat children in desks and gave them information. And now that we're allowed to do the same thing, we're allowed to put out information that other people, they're like,
Yes.
oh, heaven forbid. If you put out information and then other people believe it, then everybody starts to believe it.
Well,
and that's a problem. It's like, no shit. That's the problem. That's You
Exactly.
stole that from day one.
Well, but that is why they create the authority that give a fake news or a real news. And in fact, in
Right.
that documentary, I don't know if you pay attention, but they named the Flat Earth
Yeah.
Football Club.
Yeah.
And that was the flat earth topic itself,
Right.
And the paradox in that documentary is that they are attacking the idea to like the algorithm of YouTube that to keep you in the platform, they recommend you with videos that maybe are bad for the society, but
Right.
Netflix do the same exact same
Yeah,
thing.
they got
So
caught
does
with
so does
the
every
security
company.
thing
So does
scandal,
every
right?
company ever. There's no company that doesn't. Oreos are made because they're
Yeah.
addictive. Like nobody's
Well,
saying like Oreo cookies should be shitty, and then people, yeah, if they were shitty, people wouldn't eat them, right? Dave knows that. Dave loves Oreo cookies. I mean, that's the whole problem is that everything in society is that way. They're making it sound like, oh, it's only this that actually tries to attack the person's personality traits or think about. I mean, if we go into a mall, this is the thing about your phone, and this is where I treat my phone is if you went into a mall and just were overcome with all the window displays and look what's on sale, 50% off here, 60%, and you just fell into that trap and then spent $5,000, you'd be an idiot, right? It's the same thing with your phone. If you sit there like some people do and just all day, phone, get distracted by everything. I got another notification. Well, yeah, you're an idiot. You need to learn to put your phone down. It's that simple. That sums up the whole show. But again, the whole thing is
they
propaganda.
have used the casino techniques for a long time. So why they don't close the casinos, for example, which is
Right.
one of the biggest industry in terms of keep you entertained,
Right,
you
or
know,
f-
and make you buy and
Yeah.
spend
Right.
money
So
and that
dark
is all-
inside.
They don't have
Yeah,
windows,
that
so you
is
can't
all-
see what time it is outside. Right. I mean, you can't see if it's
Free
daytime or
Exactly.
nighttime.
They are using the psychological warfare in every place, and they
Right.
test in different battlefields, if you want to call battlefields. And now is the time to apply at a complete world. You know, all the things that they learn for make you look more television, playing in casinos, spend money on that, believe in medical treatment, blah 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 blah. That is like now we are like living the conclusion of all those techniques putting together to manipulate 90% of the world, something like that.
Yeah,
Can I-
I think
can I
you're trying to
backtrack?
say- sorry.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead, you first.
No, I was just going to say that, when you think about just what Ido has described, the amount of time that it takes from people, and then when you get away from it, you get all this extra space, right? When you put down all these lies, essentially, some people may even not know what to do with the freedom of mind, if you know what I'm saying. And then, we have to deal with the realities of society at the same time. Right, but if things were the way we wanted them to be, things would be solved, which is pretty remarkable when you think about it. If you just amplify what we have here among us around the world, we wouldn't need government. There's so many things we wouldn't need, right?
True.
That documentary just is so hilarious that it shows a teenager at the beginning, right? And then he's a nice guy, but he looks at truth on his phone, and then he ends up at an anti-vax protest, and then he gets arrested, and then his sister goes to save him, and then she gets arrested. And it's like, that has never happened in the history of the world. Nice job, documentary. There's never been some sister that showed up to save her brother at an anti-vax, and they both got arrested. Ever in the history of the world. It's never happened.
Yeah, why don't they tell us about the vaccine injuries and what happens to those people?
No, because in this documentary, it's very clear. Some things are real and some things are fake. And who gets to decide those? Well, the arbiters of truth, right? The Facebook fact checkers and everything else. So if you are anti-vax, well, then you are in the false category, and everything that you read is false, and anybody saying anything is false. And this is the problem with the internet: is there's too many people out there that are allowed to say things opposite of what the mainstream says.
You guys got to listen. James Corbett put out a report today, I believe, talking about how in the near future, you're not going to have books. You're not going to have websites. You're going to ask Siri, hey, Siri, what happened on 9/11?
Right.
And then Siri's going to answer you, and that's all there is, because the cloud is actually just someone else's computer.
But Dave, it's going to be worse than that, dude. It's going to be it'll be the arbiters of truth will not be judges anymore. It'll be the same Facebook fact checkers that'll deal with our social credit systems. You know what I mean? We won't go in front of a judge in the future. It'll be an app or artificial intelligence that'll take your neighbor's complaint and see, use the mass surveillance footage and dock you right there. You'll have no court of law. You'll have no way to say your side of the story, just like it is now.
And just
the
like
Facebook
on YouTube,
fact checkers are doing a perfect job. They're eliminating all the facts from Facebook.
Right. It's just like Pizzagate, right? I mean, you can't do a Pizzagate video anymore. It'll be removed from YouTube. So anybody in the future, whoever looks at it, and again, this was in the documentary, them talking about Pizzagate and laughing and joking about it, and what a joke it was. And and there was a guy who went to a pizza place with a gun and I mean, look at all the things that are happening because of the propaganda they push. Think of everything that's going on with the deaths, the murders, everything. And then their biggest problem with Pizzagate is that one guy went to a pizza place with a gun and did nothing. That's the biggest problem in the world.
That's a big story,
actually,
well, no, he shot a bullet.
That guy was so
to the computer. Yeah, to the hard drive. Yeah. He cleared their data files or whatever.
Oh man!
Hey, since you brought up my one vice that I have, which is Oreos, can I ask Amanda a question since she's the natural?
No, they're not good. They're not good for you. No. Go ahead.
Well, Amanda, if I ate
they're vegan. They're vegan though.
Yeah, they're vegan. If I ate a sleeve of Oreo cookies and I dunked them in organic raw milk, isn't that healthy?
No. Yes.
I mean, come on.
What about
the thing is,
if they were
what's unhealthy about it? What's unhealthy about it? That's what I want to know. What's bad about it?
Because the
you get to this point
to the cookie is different on the double stuff. Does that matter?
Oh my God. I mean, just the sugar alone. I mean, you're going to be in inflammation. You're going to create mucus. Then you can get parasites.
Preservatives are good for you. The preservatives go into our body and make us live longer, right?
Sure.
I used to have Salty landed the plane on the Hudson River, but now I had to let that go because Tom Hanks and everything. But now I have David Blaine flew into the clouds, and RV just destroyed that. Okay, what do I have? I need something to hold on to.
I have microdosing mushrooms. That's what I hold on to.
All right.
Which kind of mushrooms? Amanda, which kind of mushrooms? Are you talking about psilocybin mushrooms?
I sure am. Yeah.
And can you microdose? So how much, like an eighth of a gram? Or like how,
well,
I mean, what do you consider
I have a product. I have a particular two products. One is it's this Paul Stamets Stacks protocol. So it's niacin, niacinamide, reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, lion's mane, and reishi and the psilocybin, right, together. And it actually rehabilitates the frontal lobe and the hypothalamus. So it's very...
Lion's mane creates neurogenesis and makes you...
Are you allowed to sell that?
The brain,
yeah. Yes, I do.
You're allowed to sell it and ship it?
Well, it's not it's different. I have a private membership for these products because... a practitioner can dole it out, but so I have to have a certain sort of, I have to understand what that person's using it for. They have to be instructed properly. So, but it really helps with mood and it really just picks you up. And then I have one more for males, especially because it's a lot more psilocybin. It's 150 milligrams, and it's got guarana and ginseng with it. So it's quite an upper. It's quite a energy producing.
I'm seriously interested, Amanda. I'm going to try to order. So I need to join this club. Explain how we get this.
Yeah. So if you're interested, then you just contact us at yumnaturals.ca, and we'll get the privacy form. And then I just need some information about what, your health information, just to make sure that it works for you, and then we ship it out. So yeah, and then I've got raw mushrooms as well. I've got 4 different kinds, and they'll have different layers of things. There's golden teacher, Z mushrooms, wavy caps, and what's the other one? There's like a ton of different psilocybin-based mushrooms.
Hey Amanda, what about the psyop that they say that mushrooms can grow in space? Have you ever heard that one?
They definitely grow in space. Everything grows in space.
And they're on Mars too.
It's magical. Yeah.
multiple
We know
times.
lettuce grows.
Yeah, lettuce definitely grows in space.
Well, but you've heard that they say mushrooms are the only thing that could actually grow in space. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
make stories up
Bullshit.
all the time.
I know.
But yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, because
I'm
they
not
grow in
buying
the
it.
dark. They don't need the sun.
yeah,
Fantastic.
right.
Uh,
But that's I don't eat
But
Oreos because I have mushrooms.
they need humidity, man. They need atmosphere to grow. It's pure water.
Iru, as long as they grow them
Electricity.
between here and the moon, they're in the atmosphere.
their-
Okay.
Yes,
It's gonna be
that's
tiny.
You see
tiny,
the bubbles?
Tiny mushrooms.
Ah,
See the bubbles?
The atmosphere extends beyond the moon, Iru. You can grow them anywhere, even in
Yeah,
the
but it's gonna be
Lagrange
tiny.
point.
It's gonna be super tiny.
Amanda,
it's
if you
only
have
received,
the if you have this sleeve of Oreo cookies and you follow that with some capsules of activated charcoal, does that help?
It can help a little bit. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm seeing light.
uh-oh.
Thank you.
Don't
for the
give
question.
don't give Dave
It
any
can.
ideas.
It can. Well, it's like I'm an alcoholic, but I take a lot of B vitamins. Can it help? Right. So it's like, well, sure, you might live a little longer from that. You might detox a little quicker from that. But is it really? You're gonna be healthy and you're gonna,
If
have
it's
other
like
problems.
once a month kind of thing, is that still bad? Or chocolate
Well,
and things
I
like
usually
this?
do a 70-30 rule. Like 70% of your lifestyle is healthy and balanced and really clean, and then the 30% you can sort of get away with some of these things. But what starts to happen as you get really, really, really clean is you don't want to trash your body
So
after
true.
all that work. You don't want to
true.
eat those things anymore.
True.
You're,
That's why I eat Taco Bell, only being burritos.
But the ultimate question,
Thank you.
of all this is how much longer they're gonna live.
I don't think Amanda
is it
can answer
about
that.
longevity? Is that what it's about for
No,
you?
it's about a joke because a joke because a lot of people saying, okay, if I need to do all that kind of efforts, and I only gonna live 3 months more, 1 year more, well, I prefer to,
The
have
quality
but
of life.
Quality
It's
of
a
life, I
quality
think.
of life. It's
Exactly.
your to me it's all about spiritual ascension. And so if I eat dense, crappy, sugary, pro-inflammatory, IQ lowering crap, how am I gonna refine my
Is that a direct punch at me?
No, it's an indirect punch at you. If you want a direct punch, you got to come here, and I'll give you one gladly.
All right.
Dave, I've been taking those bioplasma salts you told me to take. Where did you learn that? Where did you get that from? Or did you just send me something? That I
From Benjamin. From
Yeah,
Ben.
Oh, well, I learned that in school, like tissue salts.
I haven't
do
noticed
you
much of
do
a
you
difference,
agree with them?
Oh yeah, they are literally essential. Like if you don't have all 12 biochemical tissue salts working in your cells, then those cells are not optimized or not working that well. So
Sweet.
that's a must.
Thank you, David, for introducing me to that.
Is honey dangerous because of sugar?
No.
No, then that's like saying fruit is dangerous. It's not.
I don't know,
that
just asking.
Yeah,
People
like
say,
what-
oh, yeah, it's sugar.
refined, poisoned. The further divorced away from nature it is, the harder for your body to assimilate, digest it, and use it. So the closer it is to nature, the easier it is for your body to use it when it's designed for us to eat, right?
Benjamin
Like
Bolton.
pollen
I was
as
spacing
well,
on
right?
his name. Benjamin Bolton.
Benjamin Button?
Oh, Ben, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's something? If you're wondering if the honey that you're buying is legit, there's a great little test you can do. You get a like a bowl or a saucer and you put like a tablespoon of honey in it, and then you gently float some cold water, just tap water, cold water over it, so quarter of an inch or whatever, and then you just lightly shake it back and forth, and the honey, if it's real natural honey, will turn into a little. You'll see a honeycomb shape come out in the honey. You'll actually see it remember how it was formed, and the memory will form a honeycomb within a couple of seconds. If it's processed crap, it'll just turn into a slurry.
Yeah, it's one of the shakiest industries in terms of how much sugar is inserted into the honey, the way it's exported. It's quite a mafia. There's a bunch of problems, Chinese honey, and I think in Germany they have testing facilities to test all the honeys that come in and so on. I grew up in Brazil with like this raw honey that I remember you took us to the apiary when I was a child, and I bought this bucket of honey with propolis that crystallized. That was the best things I've ever had in my life. I would eat the whole bucket if I could. And that's something it's really hard to find, the honey with the propolis, like very dark.
Since we're on honey, Amanda, have you heard about if you take like a teaspoon of honey before you go to bed, it affecting your dreams?
Well, I mean, a lot of the time your adrenals in this day and age get really affected. A lot of people who wake up 2 or 3 in the morning have adrenal fatigue or adrenal problems, and their body wakes themselves up actually to eat and try to get sugar or try to get glucose to deal with the cortisol that's spiking in the night. So sometimes if you take a little bit of glucose in the evening and hydrate yourself obviously enough as well, it's not the best approach, but it can alleviate sometimes that sugar need in the middle of the night for that cortisol surge. So
hey, Amanda, I gotta ask you about this because this happens to me. So this is why I actually do the opposite, because before I was waking up in the middle of the night and I could tell it was from a cortisol because I'd be craving food. But see, if I don't have any sugar in the house and I don't have any sugar late at night, then those cravings are less. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if I eat sugar, like let's say around dinner, then there's cortisol, then my body's craving sugar even more late at night.
It's like an
addiction. So it's about the total restriction for me.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's not the best approach, but for some people who don't eat well, that's what'll happen. They'll get on that roller coaster. But if you want to get out of that, then you want to sustain the adrenals, and that usually giving lots of vitamin C and magnesium, and drinking obviously enough fluids in the day and eating well, then, stress management, all those things, then you're not going to have the waking in the night effect.
Yeah, but Manda, why do I do that? Why do I wake up sometimes at 3 a.m. and I go and want to eat a cookie? It's the weirdest thing in the world. I'll walk to my kitchen and go literally eat a cookie or something sweet. You know what I mean? It's the weirdest thing.
That's because your body's looking for glucose because you're
addicted.
Cortisol, that's what it wants. So that's why
fact.
people stress eat. They eat.
Amanda, could it possibly be because he goes to McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King?
Yes, but it's not that. I have a poor diet, but I don't eat meat. But what I'm saying is, I wake up in the middle of the night, David, and I want something sweet. Like I don't want a Coca-Cola because I don't drink Coca-Cola, but I want a cookie. If I had candy, I want a candy. It's the weirdest thing. You wouldn't think you'd be hungry. Like you almost have
when he says he doesn't want Coca-Cola, it's because
Have you tried Alex cocoa nibs like cacao?
Yeah, I've had it all. I mean, it's what it is. It's like the cortisol release. It's like when you take that sugar, then all of a sudden I can feel the serotonin releasing, and it makes me relax and it makes me easy to go back to bed. It's very weird.
Sugar addict.
Well,
100%.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a
1,000%.
It'd be like
back in the day, the Arabs, like the travelers, they used to take a little bit of sugar and take it as a upper kind of.
Well, the thing is, it's not just about the sugar. Is that I don't eat meat, so I eat a lot of carbohydrates, and those carbohydrates turn into sugar. And so those slow activating carbohydrates turn on in the middle of the night when I run out of sugar. That's when I think I want it. It's really weird. It's a cortisol release. And I'm telling you, as soon as I take a bite of the cookie, I can get right back in bed and go to sleep. It is weird, dude.
Well, it's kind of an addiction. I mean, it'd be the same thing hearing somebody say, a meth head. Like, why do I wake up every morning and I need a hit of meth? Well, it's because you're addicted to meth. It's pretty easy to figure out.
I'm a full-blown sugar addict. Because it's funny. I replaced meat with sugar, and Amanda, I think it's not as bad as the meat because the sugar is easier to digest, but my weight hasn't really changed. And so how do I exactly, I do eat a lot of fruit, guys, but it's just easy to eat a cookie when you don't eat any steak or meat. You know what I mean? It's easy to justify that because I feel less ego. You know what I mean? It messes with my moral.
Some fruits are so filling. I mean, like mangoes and stuff. It's just so juicy. And,
dude, I got bananas, but a banana and a Twinkie don't taste the same, dude. They taste different.
Well, that's
I
the problem.
promise you.
Yeah, okay, but listen. You got to rewire your taste buds. It takes some time because it's an addiction, right? So it's wired yourself in one direction and it's an addiction, and so it takes a number of weeks to start to wean away from those tastes being pleasurable because it's just fat and sugar and salt that you're triggering in your brain. And when you actually detox from all that and go through all that withdrawal, like a true addiction, you will go through withdrawal, you'll crave and all this stuff. But as soon as you start to really increase your nutritional levels and work with other flavors, your taste buds will change accordingly, and you'll find those other foods repulsive when you begin to try to test test them or bring them back in again unless you go and ruin it again. Like my
Amanda,
daughter, she didn't grow up on sugar at all, and when if she ever goes to a birthday party or something where they have that disgusting cake and she tries some, she thinks it's too sweet, it's gross, and she doesn't go for it, right? Because her taste buds are different.
Yeah, well, I gotta say this. One thing. Let me just say this one thing. So I lost weight, Amanda, by doing no sugar, doing the keto diet, eating all this meat, and that was terrible. That was way harder on my body with no sugar. So what I'm saying is, I think I had the rebound effect. I'm totally addicted, but that's why, because I went so anti-sugar. And now that I gave it to my body, I'm like a crack addict for it. Sorry to cut.
I was gonna ask like about some things that are sweet, but they have this kind of such complex taste. Kind of like I've got a couple of bottles of this maple syrup, like this raw maple syrup from Canada, and does that have any kind of good properties, or would you just say it's just sugar and be careful with it?
Yeah, that's the one I use. I actually don't eat honey. I find it too much glucose for me. I use maple syrup if I'm going to use any natural sweetener, or dates. I like to use date syrup or dates.
Are great, yeah.
But maple syrup is a lot of minerals.
My wife took dates throughout the pregnancy. For some reason, there was something she read about it being very good for her.
Oh yeah, Miss eats those too.
What?
So Miss is eating them right now too.
Yeah.
Are we playing?
Yeah, so just be careful, because you can either do keto, which you're using fats as fuel, or you're using glucose as fuel. There's two different ways you can go about that. But if you're not eating enough complex carbohydrates and vegetables, pulses and things like lentils and whatnot, and you're not getting, then you don't need meat. You definitely don't need meat to be healthy. You just need to have a variety of the foods that are as fresh as possible and not sprayed with crap and all that stuff. And then you feel good. You feel energized. You don't have the train of like coffee in the morning, alcohol in the evening, or weed in the evening as a downer. You don't go through these cycles anymore. And then your moods are more stable. Your gut is
Wait, what's wrong with weed? What's wrong with the weed? Go back to weed, Amanda. So psilocybin's okay, but weed is bad.
The only issue, it's again, everything has its appropriate application. So I'm not saying that smoking weed occasionally and different strains or whatever that you're using it for is inappropriate. What I'm saying is that we abuse these things, and we use them as crutches, and we use them as things to get by rather than use them as tools for personal growth or something, or healing, So
yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on with that.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm not saying it's bad.
Amanda, I was going to ask you, like, what about this raw sesame, the dark sesame paste? Like, it has this, like, another thing that has, like, extremely complex taste. Like, that should be, that should be on your list for something that what do you think about that kind of stuff?
I mean, sesame is a very powerful seed. It's just you eat these things in moderation. You're not going to sit down and eat like a huge amount of it. It's going to be as a flavoring or something you're putting in your baking or whatever to make sure you're not poisoning yourself with white sugar, right? So you can use there's all kinds. It's just that the more you get into like dense nutrition, so you're really trying to enrich your body and make sure you're not hurting your gut, because some people might not digest sesame that well. I happen to do super well with sesame and sesame oils. It's actually one of my Ayurvedic oils that works well for me. So I love sesame, and I tolerate it well. It's even good on my skin. And so, but somebody else, that could be pro-inflammatory for them. So it's really about finding your own way.
But there's many options now for paste from nuts and to choose from, and seeds.
Nut milks, nut seed milks, all kinds of extractions. I mean, there's all kinds of dense nutrition from these things. And so if we eat empty calories, if we keep eating the Oreo cookies, which is just a quick high hit of sugar, which hits our brain and gets the dopamine going and whatever, that is pro-inflammatory, and that does mean your white blood cells have to come in, and all of these bacteria have to come in and everything. So it's just a choice. Like, do you want to deal with the repercussion of that? And if you do, and that's your decision, then be an adult and that's your decision, right? But for me, I don't want to put that in my body, because there's already so much in this world that I have to clean up from, because they're spraying us. There's, EMFs. There's all these other challenges now. It's not like we're eating an Oreo cookie back in the 1960s. Like this is a whole other world.
You can probably learn how to bake your own, right? your own nice ones. You can, if you really like, because I understand that kind. I have friends who are crazy about Oreo cookies as well, and sometimes I have one, so I've indulged. But I guess it is something you could learn to bake. Something similar that with natural things, and I don't know.
I've never had a homemade Oreo.
Nobody can duplicate the Oreo cookie. Sorry.
Don't even try. Only Nabisco. Are we playing the Ask Amanda game? Because I want to be next. Amanda, so I'm having a home birth in a few days, and we'll try not to go off on the subject too long. But we've opted out of everything. The one thing that I keep getting some kickback of is the vitamin K shot. So talk me out of that real quick.
Never. No. So I've had actually there was a case of a 8-year-old boy that I met, and I knew he was going to die, and it was the only vaccine he ever had was the vitamin K vaccine, and he died from that. It causes leukemia, causes dysregulation of blood. I have a whole video I suggest you watch with tons and tons of information about the vitamin K shot on my YouTube channel. Okay,
Sweet.
Yum Naturals Emporium. Watch it, listen to it, read everything, think. Does nature screw up like that? No. So why would a baby have natural low vitamin K? There's a reason for it. There's a reason because that baby's going to be squeezed through the canal. All the blood's going to be in the placenta, all the stem cells, all of these things. And the mom doesn't even need to take it orally, but that's usually what I told them when I did. I just said to the midwives, I'm going to take it orally instead. Don't worry. Just I'll write whatever waiver. I sign a waiver,
Mm-hmm.
And this is like for a certain type of coagulation disorder that's extremely rare. Like less than 1% of babies have this coagulation disorder. And what happened is in Britain, they just decided to make it a policy across the board because they were too freaking lazy to deal with the one-on-one cases. So that's all. The whole reasoning why they give it at all is a less than 1% risk of this, coagulation disorder in infants, which you can predict because the mother eats probably a lot of Oreo cookies and doesn't take care of her health, and so that's where it's going to set you up for problems like that. There you go. There you go.
I think you had him at no.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
so.
the one thing that you say there that's important. I mean, so is it more about because my wife has been extremely healthy for the past 2 years, right? But before that, just like me, before 3-4 years ago, when we started to get to all this truth and realize it, we led incredibly destructive lives as far as things that we put in our body. And so, is it still something you would say? Even that's the most important thing is how healthy you were during the pregnancy, more than your entire life you had to be healthy.
No, I mean, listen, all you need as your backup, if anything really, really did happen, if you're that rare percentage where that baby is having a problem, is bleeding internally, it was a very rough birth and a very violent birth, right? Then you give arnica to the baby. That's it. You just give arnica. It stops internal bleeding. That's all they need. But they don't even believe in homeopathy. They don't even understand it. So that's all you need to have on hand so you can rest your mind and not worry about it. You've got your safety measure if that is the worst case scenario. But listen, the baby does not need K ever. And in fact, if you give the K to the baby, they get jaundice. They get very yellow because it damages their liver. So welcome to the world, little one. We're going to inject you and break your etheric field, and we're going to break your trust of us because we're going to hurt you the second you get here, and then we're going to poison your liver, and we're going to do all kinds of things to your body that's going to really give you problems for later in life. Why would you damage their blood? That's exactly what the K does. The K has to be low at the beginning, and it normally goes up over time from nursing from the mother and all the things that build naturally in the system. It's an error of thinking to think that there's something wrong with all babies coming naturally from us, that they don't have enough vitamin K. It's absolutely ridiculous. They have stem cells for that. And you know where the problem came in, by the way? Are these idiot doctors who cut the cord without letting all the blood stem cells come back into the baby's body. That's how you get your DIC, your coagulation disorders. You never give the blood back to the baby in the first place, and the stem cells, which would repair any crushing injury anyway. So all you need to do to prevent it, despite your diet, despite whatever, is all you need to do is make sure they do not cut that cord. Let it finish. Let it do what it's naturally supposed to do, and you won't have an issue. I guarantee.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, thank you. Who's next? Oh, sorry. Anybody else asking Amanda? What about cheeseburgers? Can I eat cheeseburgers and covered in cheese? Is that good? What, Dave? No, I was joking.
We're changing the title to the Ask Amanda Show.
Yes, the Ask Amanda Show. Anybody wants
Listen,
to
if
ask
you want to
Amanda
enjoy a cheeseburger, enjoy a cheeseburger, send it love, like enjoy that crap out of that. But why wouldn't you want the burger to be like organic and like you made it, and so the bun is really nice and healthy, maybe it's sourdough and it's like delicious, and then the meat, the farmer, where it came from, it's not injected with poison, it's not full of antibiotic residue, it's not genetically modified and a feed given to it, it's not sprayed down with pesticides because all the flies landing on it because all the poor farming methods. You're not going to be putting cheese on that comes from pus coming out of a bleeding udder, full of all these white blood cells and garbage and additives and crap. Like, just think, I would eat a cheeseburger if it were like that. I would gladly eat one.
God, Amanda, you make it sound just so appetizing.
But would I go
from a bleeding udder? Nice.
Well, that's what it is. If you look at how the dairy industry works, it's disgusting. It's absolutely, there's blood, there's pus, there's all kinds of disgusting things in there. And they have to change the color of it because it's so disgusting. They have to put food dyes and things in it because it's absolutely putrid.
You're right.
Bob, they can look at cheese and see how much cow blood's in it.
I know. Have you guys ever seen the website called notmilk.com? It's like got milk, but not milk. If you ever read that website, you probably won't ever use dairy again. It's really that bad.
Never heard of it. I'll bring it up.
A lot of people, like nut milks, and they buy the nut milks, like the almond milk, in the grocery store. That's disgusting. Read the ingredients on it. It's just filled.
It's not nut milks I was talking about. It's not milk. N-O-T.
Yeah, no, I got that. I was just.
Okay, all right.
When she was talking about nut milk, I just want to tell people you can make almond milk, cashew milk. It's the simplest thing ever. 1 part almonds, 3 parts clean water, and blend the crap out of it for a minute. And then if you want to add a little agave or a little honey or a little maple syrup to sweeten it, delicious.
Blend the almonds?
So easy to make them.
I have a juice. What did we have? A juice. A Vitamix, but I think any good high-speed blender will do it.
I like that good fluoridated almond milk, homemade fluoridated almond milk.
Yummy.
Yeah. No, and you get a nut. You can buy an actual filtrate bag that's very fine mesh, so that you can filter it really easily through the mesh bag. It's called a nut bag. I know. I'm mature. But it is a really good nut bag. And so that's how we make ours. And you can make your own homemade vanilla really easily as well, with some vodka and some vanilla beans, and add that into it. I mean, these things, once you start to change your lifestyle around and get this figured out, it's not difficult. And it saves you money in the long run too. So this is where we're headed for a lot of self-sustainable behavior. We can't rely on just picking it up at the supermarket the way we used to. It's forcing us into this responsibility. So,
Bob, I've never seen this site before.
Is your mushroom complex for mental health or both? The one that's 150 milligrams of the psilocybin.
Yeah, it is. There's lots of different uses for it, but definitely mental health is one of them. Anxiety, depression, all kinds of cognition problems, Alzheimer's. Just mood disorders of all types, bipolar, etc. I wouldn't use it in schizophrenia. I would use high dose, just the niacin and the high dose vitamin C and vitamin D to begin with, and then you could go over to that after, because it can trigger certain visuals if that person's hypersensitive. But that's really the main contraindication. And then they shouldn't take it or use it if they're on any other psych meds at all, because they can overlap and cause problems. So that's why I take a bit of a health history, just so to make sure there's none of those problems. But mental health, gut health helps with gut health as well, because the mind-gut complex is connected. And I find if I get really feeling hormonally moody, because that also helps with hormone balance. If I get any little blip of that, then I'll use it in that way, and it just helps to regulate everything nicely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, changing topics a little bit. Has anybody seen Challenger, the final mission on Netflix? Just released it.
Is it a movie or a series?
Yeah, when did it come
It's
out?
a one-time. It's a movie, and I watched part of it last night. But right at the beginning, when they show a close-up of the Challenger, I swear to God, it's a balloon. It looks like a Macy's Day balloon. They only
Is it
show
real
it for like
footage,
2 seconds.
David? You're talking about
Real
when they show
footage,
Real
real
footage. of it?
footage.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Well, is it a docudrama? Explain what it is.
it's
Is
a
it
documentary on docudrama about. More of a documentary about the Challenger's last mission.
But are there actors like recreating it, like playing the astronauts?
No, it's mostly just footage, a lot of footage. I only watched like 15 minutes of it, and then I was like, I couldn't take it.
Well, didn't Jaron always say that he said the Challenger was to show that normal people can't go into space? That's why they purposely did that. Isn't that what your thought is, Jaron?
It was trauma-based mind control, and they had every kid watching, and they basically traumatized children, and then they also could kick the can way down the road with that story.
Right. Space travel's so hard.
Yeah,
Look
there's
what
also
happened.
that story as well. Sally Ride, right? Isn't that her name?
Well, that was
the first woman in space.
Yeah.
Another nice series to watch. Not another, because that one is
terrible.
It wasn't nice, but it is the, I don't know if you saw it, it's a French production called The Collapse. That's are only 8 chapters, 22 minutes, all filmed in one shot. It's amazing. The quality, of course, French has a really nice cinema. I don't say in terms of the script is a little depressive sometimes, but in terms of quality and the techniques behind, it's a really great country in terms of those things. And it has this, they create this series which call about the collapse of the world in terms, in a very realistic manner. It's not something fantasy Hollywood style. It's a really real life event. And the series starts with the first chapter with a guy that works in the supermarket, and his girlfriend started warning like 2 years ago, like a collapse is going to come, the economics going to fall, the world is going to enter in some kind of new world order with this it's like we are living the end days. And along the series, it shows how deeply the human can go just for getting food, which is all something that it cares, right? I mean, every organism, it doesn't matter if it's microorganism or a really evolved or developed organism like us, everything is about food. Then come the pleasures, then you can start thinking in your iPhone or your Ferrari or your cheeseburger. But in terms of when you start getting out of food, you turn crazy. With the stock, when we never felt that, because we get born in families that always provide us food. But
there's those stories about cannibalism in the States, right? People that end up eating others because they run out of food and stuff. So it goes down to that level.
And the thing in this series is that it's nice to see or nice to watch in terms of be prepared for something like that, like Amanda said in the beginning of the show, but also is something nice to watch in terms of the psychological effects that could happen if the economic goes like we think maybe could be in the real life. And also the different stories along the chapter are really amazing. And I'm not going to say what it's the end of the last chapter, which shows something that it's really possible that some people with a lot of money are doing. And the only thing that I don't agree, it's that the whole thing is based of global warming. This collapse of the world is happening by the global warming, not in terms of flood. Like it's going to be a flood, like a biblical event, but it's something near of that. But that is the only part that I don't totally agree. But the rest is a nice series to take a look.
All right. People should check that out. And Dave, did you see the movie Equals that I told you to watch? Some people saw it. They thought it was very interesting. Oh, you did see it?
I did watch it.
I heard you talk about it. It's a remake of a different show, though, Jaron.
Is it?
It seems so familiar.
That's what I thought somebody said. Maybe Iru Rodriguez said that. Maybe not. I guess not. Equals, or I thought it's called something different there. I need to look into it. I don't watch anything anymore, I've noticed. I haven't turned on my TV except for the Dallas Cowboys game, and probably the first time in 2 months when I turned it on last Sunday.
Yeah, usually I wait until somebody, Iru or somebody comes along and says, you have to watch something, or this is really interesting. But no, it's certainly not anything I'm looking forward to, or like, I got to watch this on Thursday night, or whatever.
Away one.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I haven't started watching that. Is that worth watching, Iru, or is that just more nonsense? That's the one with Hilary Swank? Thank you, Iru. Iru? No, guess not. What?
Has anybody been watching the Steve Carell space show? I've never even got into it. Everybody's talked about it. I can't even get into these shows anymore because it's all bullcrap. I just can't even enjoy it. I don't think I can laugh.
It's funny. I only watch like a movie or something now for research. There's only I need to watch this just to see what they're doing.
Yes, I have the same feeling. Sorry, I didn't answer because I was cooking. I don't know if you asked me something. I just listen.
We're talking about the away film. You know, the one with the strong woman that goes to space and she has a family and she goes to the moon, and that series on Netflix. And
yes.
Yeah, I was going to point out, and I think Ito mentioned that it's full of predictive programming and some other stuff. What I found to be really disturbing, I wasn't even expecting it. I mean, in some of the early scenes in I think it's the first or second chapter, she has a teenage daughter, or she's 12 or 13, and she comes into the kitchen and talks about a pizza that she's going to order. Oh, you're going to get the pizza for la la la. And then she says, oh, he looked at my picture in the park, something like this, and I was so hot. He said I was so hot. What do you think? Something like that. She's talking to her dad about her being hot in some picture in the park after mentioning pizza. And she's like a 12-year-old. I was like, what the heck is going on here? That was weird.
And the fourth chapter, I saw until the fourth chapter, and I screen record a few things to share. But the fourth chapter is about a virus came into the spaceship. So they start using masks and putting all the special suits to treat people that has a virus. It's all based on predictive programming. It's crazy. It's crazy how deep they go and how effective that type of pre-programming things are, in the mind of people. It's amazing.
So did you guys see yesterday's show with Jason Goodman? Didn't go as planned. Thanks, Dave. No.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I do what we can do.
But we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this. Because Jason started to wake up when you said Saddaloons. He started to wake up because he had never heard of Saddaloons. So I want to get that point out.
So I did send him a note with a couple things to watch. I sent him the Dr. John that Karen narrated, and I said, take the time and watch this, and you'll see how the refraction argument isn't there. And then I sent them the sun fade out along with two other short videos that were stuff, and he will look at them. That's just his personality. But and Jaron, I know you saw it, but Jason went from there. Went out marching on the streets of New York like he does.
I saw him and he got attacked.
Protest. There was guys, there was a protest going on where they were blocking the traffic, and he's like, "What's your purpose? What are you doing here?" And he got surrounded by literally a gang of thugs, and he stood up to them like a badass.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Like the guy, you have to give the guy his credit. Go watch his live stream from yesterday. And just find that section. It's unbelievable.
So you weren't successful in showing him talking?
I think we planted some seeds. Sure. I think he started to scratch his head. He's not one to jump on board with anything that quick. So I think we made a difference, and we all learned something from it.
Some of his things made no sense.
How did he come on to the show in the first place? Sorry.
Well, Dave,
he was a little combative, Dave. He was a little combative to it, dude.
Certainly, but that's just him.
Yeah. I mean, the problem here was, we were talking to him about Canigou, and his immediate answer was, well, this is because we don't understand silhouettes. A silhouette.
Hold on. He said it could be because he wasn't making a conclusive answer either.
I'm not sure. But, I mean, if you watch this mountain does not move a little bit. If it were some sort of projecting, then this mountain, as the light went behind the Earth, if you want to believe that, then this would be rising, right? You can put your mouse here and see that the top of that mountain is not moving. I mean, it would be raising up into the sky.
Yeah, something would be changing dramatically if it were to fit there. It looks solid, right? From your
Yeah, because it is.
here.
That is the mountain.
It's a mountain,
right? What do you think? What do you think's going to happen? It's a mountain. But I mean, he was just saying, right, Dave. Let me get that correct. He was saying it could be that there's, it's projecting up. But I mean, this is the mountain. It's just
listen, I'm defending the guy, but some of the stuff he was saying was, okay, he just doesn't want to face it, or he's Mossad, and I'm going to go with the first.
He's Mossad.
Dude, when Rose said she could see the white roof of the Superdome, he's like, oh, that was just the landscape. Could have been. He was trying to come up with a devil's advocate answer to everything, and that's just his personality.
Well,
but
thank you.
It was annoying. It's a little annoying because if he should have known the Antarctica Treaty of 1957, he doesn't have any idea anything about that.
Yeah, but Alex, come on, but the thing is, remember, how long did it take to turn Owen Benjamin? It took a while.
20 minutes.
No, come on, from the beginning.
No, but that's the difference I'm talking about, is that Owen was not – okay, so the difference between Owen and this guy is Owen wouldn't accept the kind of answers, right? So that's why Owen became a flat earther. When anybody said something like, well, it's because of gravity, he got pissed. He said, you can't just say that. You can't just – so it's the difference between this guy –
he studied it a little bit. Right?
Well, but still, he at least knew the problems was that their answers were not sufficient. The difference between Jason Goodman is he accepts any answer as sufficient. Again, he'll get mad at me for saying that.
That I have of Owen when he's like, can somebody give me an answer?
Anything.
We're in a giant theater. He goes, this is a massive theater, and all you can say is gravity or refraction. Right. I friggin' love it.
So if somebody showed Owen this image of Canigou and then said, why do we see too far here? He would not accept the answer of, oh, that's actually just a silhouette that's being projected on the sky and it stays the same no matter whether the sun's above or below it. He would have flipped out and said, no, that's not an answer. But there is some people that are just, they believe in the globe. And so anything you give
goes,
them, right. And he said at the end,
anything as long as it supports their paradigm. That's all that matters.
Yeah, so, we asked him for what is his one proof, and he says, I don't have one proof. What's the major reason? What's the one thing? And he said, because we were taught it. So, I mean, this goes back to what we were just talking about earlier. This is the problem.
That was a win for us right there.
Yeah. Hey, but I want to say this. One aspect of the flat Earth is all you have to do is look at the sociological aspect is okay, where's the ice wall? Oh, well, it's in Antarctica. Well, can we go there? No, we can't go there. So it's like we know that it's hidden. I mean, you don't even need to know any science and to know where the supposed ice wall is. We're not even allowed to go. So that's how you know that they're hiding something.
Oh, we have lots of pictures of it anyway.
My share screen.
Yes, a share screen by Iru.
Yeah. Hey, before you do that, Iru, Jaren, Amanda needs to run, but she wants to share something real quick before she runs.
Sweet, shoot, thanks. We appreciate you being here, Amanda. Go ahead.
Thanks. I got stuff to do, so I'm gonna run. But I wanted to mention a new platform, a competing platform to YouTube. It hasn't even fully launched yet, so it's really the time to go grab your names and your channel names and all this stuff over there before it gets really hot. It's called Hyper. It's called Hyper, spelled HYPRR.com. And so HYPRR.com. So I've got my channels on there. I've been slowly uploading my videos. It's still limiting your video size to 90 minutes right now until it fully launches next month. There'll be some more options, but it's the uploader is really great. It's really swift and fast, and it competes with not only YouTube but also TikTok. So you can do like small little short videos, large videos, obviously images. And it's on the blockchain. It's fully blockchain backed. It's brilliant. So I just wanted to give a heads up before it fully launches in case you want to get your personal names on there or anything like that. But I'm all over it, and it's like there's even a really good coin you can invest in that before they launch. It would be a good one to invest in. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. And
Amanda, before you go, say and spell your last name for people and where to find you.
So, well, my name is Amanda, Amandha, because a lot of people spell it, traditionally. Amanda Vollmer, V like Victor, Ollm like Mary, ER. So Vollmer, and I'm all over the place now, it seems. But I've got Yum Naturals Emporium. That's one of my main businesses. I've got Yummy Doctor. That's going to be all my courses, the blog. All my videos are going to be on there as well. I'm just trying to mirror things everywhere because YouTube censored me again. I'm 7 days not allowed to post and all this stuff, and Facebook blocked me again. I'm off there for another, I don't know, 20 days or something. So it's getting old, it's getting tiresome. So I'm on MeWe under my name. I'm on Minds.com under, I think, Yum Naturals. So it's just let's just stop trying to feed them. Let's find alternatives now and just really pull away, and something that's going to even make us money, because all these things are monetized through blockchain and coins and stuff, so we can really support each other that way too. So I really like the new models better than these old clunky ones, which are basically censoring everything, which is ridiculous.
That's awesome. And by the way, I just now signed up on Hyper. Because when DLive first came out and I tried to sign up, some clown stole Globebusters, and I had to go for Globebusters-FE. So so now I got it, and now I have Globebusters. So and I would recommend everybody else do it too.
DITRH.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, go grab the names because it's gonna get eaten up soon. As soon as they go full public next month, it's gonna go crazy. So you want to get ready now. So it's a little bit of a insider tip from Amanda here.
Yep.
Sweet.
Cool. Thanks.
And I'll put I'll put your links in the description too, so people can look there to find it. So that's awesome that you came on. Anytime, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. It was really nice to join you guys today. I missed you guys. It's been so busy, so I've missed some Globebusters episodes and stuff. But you guys are doing great work, and we just keep on telling the truth and standing up for what's right and being brave and ripping the masks away from us. And by the way, there's this new trend where people are going en masse with no masks on into stores, big box stores, and putting on music and dancing through and saying, "Take off your masks. There's no COVID. This is a hoax," and
I'm having that guy on my show, Amanda, today. His name's Chris. He's got 35 million views. Yeah, tonight.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll listen for that, because that's what the kind of action we need, other than the legal stuff like I was mentioning about the affidavits. We need this type of fanfare, because people are like one-trick ponies, right? They're really like, oh, look, there's a shiny object over there. So they might pay attention if there's a bunch of people doing it, and maybe they'll feel confident or comfortable enough to go free again and breathe actual air. So that's great. You've got 'em.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I think the power of going to a store with even just like a couple of non-maskers, because I always go alone. So I'm thinking if people see 3 or 5 or 10 or 30 people, not wearing masks, they might take theirs off. But one doesn't really do anything. Doesn't do a lot.
No, it's en masse. And even what David Rodriguez is doing, he's standing on the corners with some other people and having a sign that says free hugs and making touch acceptable again and these kinds of things. Because I notice even people who walk in my store, even though they've taken the mask off, they're still, if I take a step close to them, they take a step back from me.
Horrible.
And so, I'm trying to touch them when I talk to them and try to make, eye contact and smile and let it be safe again. I shake their hands or offer a hug. They're trying to make us so damaged that we'll lose our own needs, and that's depression and suicide. I mean, they don't even care how many people have gone into a desperate situation from all of this. How many suicides, how many lost families and broken families and abused children. I mean, they're such virtue signalists, but yet they completely ignore all the damage that's been done by all these decisions, as if they don't exist. They're totally blind and ignorant, and that one day they're going to realize that they were part of something that caused death and destruction to thousands of people, more than any fake virus, more than anything that they thought was happening. And that's going to be a really hard pill for them to swallow, so the sooner we can shake them out of it, I think the sooner they can realize their error rather than be swallowed in guilt and suicidal themselves at some point in time, right?
Amanda,
So,
when you throw out the no virus term, because I actually love doing that, and the person says, my mother died, my grandfather died, or I have whatever, what is your response?
Well, people die of all kinds of
That's what
things.
I say people die all the time.
They die all the time, and actually they're dying from acute pneumonia, most of them, which isn't caused by a virus. So they, just because somebody died, and it makes so that doesn't mean they died from the virus.
I was wondering if you had another a different line. That's exactly what I say.
No, that's pretty much what I say, because they're not really able to think a lot of it through, but generally just point them that, people die all the time. Just because it's mislabeled doesn't mean that they died from that. And then I tell them usually about the false positive PCR test, that it's 80% false positive, so that and then I ask them, do they know how the PCR test works? And I try to get them thinking, because then they realize their whole theory falls apart, because they don't even know how these people are being tested or what that means. And so if they're willing to actually talk about it, then that's what I teach them next, is the false
Amanda, don't
test.
forget to say Carrie Ellis, the creator's dead, the guy that created the PCR test.
Well, Kerry Mullis, he died, a few years ago, sadly, probably under, questionable circumstances. And he was very vocal against HIV/AIDS hoax, which is another big lie about causation of a disease that is not from a virus. And he was really vocal about not using that test as a test, because it's actually something that you use in the lab to make more genetic material for a project that you're working on, and not as a diagnostic tool. But that's exactly what they used it for, because it's very convenient, because you could easily manipulate the genetic material to the aim that you want it. So it was perfect. And Fauci was involved in the HIV scam as well, and he was part and parcel in creating that, PCR test as being a gold standard. And then they just mimicked the similar procedure for this corona hoax as well. So it's that's why I think they have Fauci involved, is because it's actually very similar to the HIV scam. So the overlap is there. Yeah, it's just actually it's a computer that has to patch together the pieces of the DNA. So they've never isolated the piece of DNA from a virus and then replicated it in a machine. That's not how it works. They've taken fragments of particles out of somebody's body, which is actually their own DNA, and then they have to use a computer model to fill in the blanks to sort of piece it together of what maybe it should look like. And then they put that together in the lab, and then they put it in the PCR machine and make more copies of it. It's absolutely, it's a joke. Like, it's really just whatever their invention is. So yeah, he was an amazing man, and you could see at the end he was really troubled, by everything that happened to his invention, really.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Amanda. We'll put your links in the description. And like I said, welcome anytime.
Okay. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk again soon.
We'll play more Ask Amanda.
Bye.
See you, Amanda.
See ya.
All right, we did get a couple super chats. I didn't get a chance to read Bronca Moore. Thank you very much. Cal says, sorry to butt in while you're discussing the sad COVID 1984 circus. Do you know about the orbs causing the eclipses? Geoshifter videos. We see them in Crow 777 shoot the moon. Like mechanics, janitors of our Earth system. Any thoughts? I don't know. Dave probably loves that.
Oh, we know him. We've covered him. Go ahead, Dave, though.
No, I don't. I would really, the thing that I say about eclipses is we don't know. There's lots of things that we can model and speculate on it, but the only thing that we kind of really know is it's not the moon approaching the sun, or at least in front of the sun. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else to say. Bob?
Exactly. Well, honestly, we've seen video evidence of those very orbs that have been taken from an airplane that has actually videotaped it. I mean, there seemed to be a sequence of orbs. And the interesting thing about it is, the ancient myths talk about Rahu and Ketu, and Rahu being this disembodied head that has come off of this entity. And it's interesting because when you look at these little circles, these little orb things that are up there, it looks like you have like a chain of them that would be like a body, and then you have a head which is actually doing the eclipsing itself. And of course, as the myth goes, Rahu supposedly swallows the sun, right? So it's interesting the way that kind of plays out. But yes, there's visual evidence for it, and I tend to believe that what we're actually witnessing up there is some sort of black body, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So there you have it.
All right, that's a good answer there. And DJ Neo Shaman says, "Good afternoon, family. Blessings." And then Mixlix wanted to know Amanda's YouTube channel and some support for Mask Forever petition. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to do that as soon as I get my camera back, which I had to send it away. You know, GoPro, 3 years ago, I bought that camera, Dave, and I thought there's no chance they ever do anything about this. Got on, and they're going to replace it free of charge. So, hey,
wow.
As much bullshit as I say about GoPro, my 3-year-old camera with no receipt. I've got no receipt for it.
They quickly went to the database, looked it up, and said, this guy's a flat earther. We need to have a fisheye lens. We need to keep him fisheye lens.
Jared, I just bought
before he buys a camera with the proper lens.
Jared, I just bought a broken freaking GoPro on OfferUp for $40, a GoPro 8 that won't stay plugged on, and I bought a battery to replace it. Won't stay on. They say it's something with the firmware. You think if I called them, I could get that replaced?
You know what you need to do? Sign up for. They have a program that's like $5 a month, I think, but you can get it for free for the first 30 days right now. It's called like GoPro Pro or I don't know, GoPro Platinum.
Oh, I'm gonna do that right now.
Yeah, what it does is it will replace 2 cameras a year for you free of charge. So just sign up for that for free for the first month. Call them, say my camera broke, and they'll do it. Yeah.
That's awesome, Jared, because I've got the same camera. I've got the Hero 5 also, but of course mine's working fine, but that's nice to know.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I thought, because I went the other day and it was like getting really hot and there was some issue. It just kept flashing red. I couldn't get it to respond. And then after 2 times trying to get it, it eventually just died and never came back on. I was like, oh, shit, now. And then, you know what's crazy is if you go look, Bob, for a GoPro Hero 5 session at Amazon, you know how much it cost? And from GoPro right now, it's $599.
Are you serious?
For whatever reason. Well, I think because GoPro, they don't really want to sell old cameras. If they did and sold them cheaper, then, it's kind of the same reason you can't go to a dealership and buy a 2016 brand new car. It doesn't do them any good. They don't want to make cars cheaper. They want you to buy the new 2020 or the 2021. So it's the same kind of thing.
Their cameras are just like GoPro right now. They cost like a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, there is. I saw a lot of them. I don't know if they're as good. I mean, that GoPro Hero 5 Session is a tiny little box. It's so amazing that it takes the photos.
It's a great camera.
Does. Great camera, yeah. And it's the first one.
They're great. They last forever. I still have a GoPro 1. I still have 2 of them, and I have a 3. So.
Yeah.
And they go fine, yeah.
I think everything before the GoPro Hero 5, though, had fisheye lenses. GoPro Hero 5 was the first one that has a linear view. But
mine is total fisheye.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing. I mean, people have shown before, like, it still looks slightly fisheye. Well, that's because all lenses are, quote unquote, slightly fisheye. There's no choice. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing with your eye. It's anything. It's that's why if you've got the kind of lens we have,
because the fisheye is what gives you curvature.
Right, of course. So you can take any picture and you can squeeze it and you can show that there's curvature. All right, Iru, you were going to share your... Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Has
Dave.
Anybody tried to do observations?
My heart. I'm going to share my heart, guys.
Your heart? I'll show this real quick just because Dave, I'm sure, wants to show, and then I'll let you talk real quick. Dave figured out how to use some QR code maker or something. He sent this to me. I scanned it, and it took me to a nice little page. Very cool, Dave.
Yeah, I will. I'll put the link in the chat in a minute, but it's all free. You can make QR codes. But the reason I want to show it is because for iPhone, still working on Android, the update is up. So if you want to just update your app, you'll have the world time that works really well, and a couple new features, a couple new arrangements fixed on the app.
So if you're watching
the one from last time that we discussed,
that's already done.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So if you're watching on your computer right now, you can just take your phone out, put it on camera if you have an iPhone, and show it. I don't know if it works for Android. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it'll work. Yeah. But this will go for. But if you have an Android, there's no updates for Android yet. Sit tight. It'll be next week, hopefully.
Wait your turn.
Just point your camera at it. Click the link that shows up, and then you could, if you don't have the app, you can buy the app, and if you have it, you can just hit update, and you're good to go.
Yep. Oh, hey, Dave. I've been meaning to ask you this, and this hopefully will just take a second, but I've noticed the last couple of days on the app on my phone, when I hit the video link, it says no video found.
And now, do you have an iPhone or
Android?
Or an Android.
Yeah.
They're looking into it. It's happening on a few phones. So.
Oh, okay.
A little pink bar shows up. It says no video.
Yep, that's exactly what it does. So
Okay.
thought you might want to know, but obviously you knew.
Real quick, I'll just show
Hey,
this.
hey, David.
For people that are having that issue, just click the archive button and it'll be there.
David, I have a question.
All of the videos will be there.
Since you're basically like,
Geran, sorry, very quickly, can I give you 10 minutes and then I come back and do my share screen?
Sure.
We'll allow it.
Good. We'll allow it.
Alex?
Hey David, just real quick. So I keep getting a Facebook ad. It's like, become an app developer. You create your own app for $155.
Sure.
And since you're an actual app developer, I know that's bullcrap, but it's like, how do you contact with this guy over there to develop it? Explain the process a little bit of creating an app, if you don't mind.
Found him on Fiverr, interviewed him. We went back and forth on text. Then I actually spoke with him on Skype once.
See, yeah, aren't they real strict about talking off of Fiverr?
No. We actually went right off of Fiverr. I did my first 2 payments on Fiverr, and then I trusted the guy, and we started dealing direct. So
He had to
Fiverr
trust you because he would have lost his Fiverr job.
And it was only $5.
No.
It was only $5.
No, that's a scam now. And most of the Fivers aren't $5 anymore.
Just so people know, this update cost over $1,000 for this update.
Wow.
Okay, so
That's like
it's
10,000 to him.
Maybe 100,000.
well, it adds up. Let me tell you.
Does he ever answer the phone in his Ferrari?
An American company. Sorry.
You know, it's funny. I paid him half his payment, and then the following Monday he didn't. He said he was home sick, and I'm like, "Are you just hungover? Did you go wild?
Yeah.
You know?"
He
was
was
like, "What?" And he said he had a cold and a fever, and I'm like,
He's been at the casino.
He was out on his boat. Go ahead, Rodrigo. You were going to say something.
No. I was just going to say, because if you try to hire a developer in the U.S. or another place, it's going to cost a fortune.
Oh yeah.
The U.S. price was 20 times as much.
Wow.
Times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it
20
probably wouldn't have
times
been as
much.
good. It would have been probably less than.
Prices
It
are
was-
just out of this world everywhere.
It's
I have to
ridiculous.
keep talking about it.
And somebody warned me, like, hey, when you do this, those guys in India, they're going to nickel dime you, $100 here, $50 there, $200 here. Yeah, because I keep giving him changes that are adding up. But he gives me, like, for what he had to do this, it was worth it. You know, I could see how he earned his money.
I figured they would nickel and dime you worse in America, would tax you worse. They get you into their company, and then it's just like any Ponzi scheme.
I have all the source code backed up. I can take it anytime I want and go to somebody else and have them take it over. But this guy's been doing right by me, and he's always there, except when I really need him.
Hungover when he's drunk.
Except when he's hungover.
Or when he takes the week off twice a year for
When he goes to
celebration or whatever.
the festival.
What's it called?
For 10 days. I don't know. Some
Hey,
crazy.
but David, what festival's next to you? You didn't say the name, did you? Did you say the name earlier?
The music festival?
Didn't you say there's a music festival, David?
No,
in your
no.
neighborhood?
This was just actually it was an outdoor a band that was playing. Did a concert. It was just a concert.
Okay.
But these local concerts are
boy.
springing up. So
Yeah, the Penn concerts. I've seen them, I think, in the UK as well.
but it's very strange. Everyone's spaced out, but you can put a chair down and put a blanket down and no one's going to step on you. It's kind of nice.
And I saw you sent this. It looks like an old story, though, Alex. But this is great stories to put out. That they say. I mean, this just makes it more real, right? You have to have an all-female
that's
crew.
going viral on Twitter and Instagram. A woman. I need to pull up the tweet. Sorry, Jaron, to cut you off. But the reason why I sent that is that's from 2017. There's a point to that. So like some lesbian Twitter account retweeted it and put like, do I need to tell him or do y'all, like some bullshit, some lesbian joke, and it got like 1 million retweets. So I saw it from that. So it's funny how it's a 2017 article, but it's popular in today. It just got viral
because it says NASA was afraid that there would be some sex on the flight, and so they want to have all females. But then you got to have the lesbian community come forward and say, hey, do I need to tell them that these girls are going to have sex? I think that the reason they're worried about having sex also is probably children and other things that do I need to tell the lesbian lady that can't happen, or does somebody else? Maybe somebody else needs to tell her that that's not going to happen when you have girls scissoring on the flight to Mars. So,
Whoa.
Sorry.
You nailed it, dude. You just nailed it right there, John. I hate to say anything, dude, but you nailed what the difference is, and that just shows you how stupid we are as society. They can't even,
no,
put
they
that
can't
together.
see that. They don't get the reason. Like it really matters if they're in there getting, intimate. Like that's not the problem. So
Yeah.
funny.
Did you see the article about the I forget, I just put it in the chat, where she said that the calling her out as a flat earther, some politician.
Interesting.
What is it? Sorry, I was reading this.
It's
Wait, hold on. Let me go over
with
to-
Zicki. Well, I don't even know who these politicians are.
Susan Wojcicki, whatever.
Yeah. Said,
I saw. Oh, go ahead.
she's like, no, she's supports QAnon, and she's backed off of that, but she's still
Oh, this is a
hashtag
different person.
QAnon, and said she believes the Earth is flat.
Witsky? Who is that person? I'm sorry.
I
Witsky
don't
is
know
not.
who
You
it is.
said. I thought you were talking about the head of YouTube, Susan.
No, the
Wojcicki.
Senate candidate. They're linking their anti-Semitism, flat Earthism, and 9/11 conspiracies.
Oh boy!
She's
How
got
dare
my
she.
vote.
I love her. Yeah, I love
Whoa!
her. And I want to apply to her fan club president of it.
I don't know. Can a Senate candidate go out with a mayor?
Yeah, I know.
Sheriff, it's a sheriff, and yes, it can, because we can break all boundaries. I'm the sheriff of this county. I can do anything I freaking want, David. That's the reason I'm going for sheriff.
Oh,
Because listen,
she
I've already
won.
decided. I've already decided how I'm going to run the red light district. Okay, so in Texas, they're never going to make prostitution legal, but this is how I can get around the prostitution. What I do is, in the red light district that I'm going to propose, where drugs will be legal, no gambling, but prostitution will be legal, but they'll never go for it. But what we do is, I have a loophole, is we film it like it's a porno. We make each person that's participating sign up like they're going to participate in a porno, and then we use a camera with a filter over it, and we say, you can't tell who it is, but we film it, and maybe we don't use the audio, we put some sort of music, and then it would make it legal, and then there's nothing you can do about it. As sheriff, how could they shut me down? I already figured out how to do it, dude. I'm gonna win this thing, dude. I've already figured it out, dude.
Jesus.
It's gonna end sex trafficking. I don't want to make prostitution legal. I'm just saying, you have to realize, when you take away the black market by making it legal, that helps it. That would reduce the amount of people that are sexually trafficked illegally. If you made it,
I don't know. It just makes it hard. It happens here in the Netherlands with marijuana, for instance. It's not legal to grow. Like, you cannot have, it's not legal. It's not legal. It's not like in Canada.
No,
Did you guys?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The idea there. What I'm saying is that because even though it's sort of legal and you can find it, you can buy it, it's tolerated. It's legal for people to grow, but they still do it. See, they'd have a disincentive to do it, but they still do it because it's cheaper. So they were saying also that in the States and in Canada, because it got so expensive. So it's like there's a black market always, even if you make it legal.
of course, but it's a smaller black market.
Did you guys hear someone on Twitter? It was something about sex trafficking, and they sent the compilation of Biden's creepiness, and their Twitter account got locked down for child, sex abuse or whatever.
Yeah, somebody asked Trump if he has evidence of accusing Biden of being a pedophile. Did you see that?
Well, he has an island right next to Epstein's. Biden, he has property right there. He's been going there. He's totally implicated, and he's a total creep. And I guess Jaron got a strike for also showing old video, right?
Impersonation.
Does anybody want
How
to
dare
bet me that Biden doesn't debate Trump? I'm giving 5-1 odds right now.
At all, ever?
No, that coming up on the 29th, that the debate doesn't happen. But if Biden is in a room by himself,
Yes.
that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. I mean, what do you think about the Joe Rogan thing? I mean, I actually agree with him, where he's saying, hey, have both these guys come in here for a 4-hour conversation, just us three, and so that nobody's reading off any teleprompters. And Trump immediately responded and said, okay, I'll do it. Of course, Biden wouldn't do it. Why? Think about it. It's the year 2020. With that, we can't have that. The two guys running for president can't go sit down at the #1 podcast and have a conversation. That's how out of touch Biden is. It's hilarious.
Joe Rogan's racist.
That's right.
What?
No, Joe Rogan knows Biden knows that Joe Rogan is such a piece of crap that that's why he turned it down. So
Oh,
I'm
sure.
on Biden's side on that one.
Oh boy, you can't just have those two guys. They shouldn't even have to be on a TV. Why can't they just come on some podcast and talk? They're not human beings.
Biden, I heard Biden secretly said, he goes, "Hey, great idea, but Joe, you're a sellout and a piece of shit, and I'm not going on your show."
You're giving Biden way too much credit.
Right.
Way too much credit. So I didn't see this though. It does say that she did say she's a flat earther. I do like this girl now. I thought they were just calling her that, but was on some podcast and says, "I'm a flat earther." Don't say that, said another podcast guest identified as Nick Leonard. "I'm such a flat earther," Witzke insisted. "That's so dumb," Cisco said. She also extended her flat earth promotion to Pinterest, tagging a meme about flat earth on the site. "I'm a flat earther. I'm such a flat earther." Good for her. And she won the seat. So this proves that within the next 3-4 years, Alex Stein will be seated at the head of office as the comptroller of Dallas.
The sheriff, yes,
sheriff,
proof.
sorry.
And dude, the red light district's gonna work, and it's gonna go worldwide. Tourism's gonna boom, dude. It's gonna be awesome. My mom's gonna have a job as a prostitute. It's gonna be awesome.
I think you should erase the song. Erase the song though. The mass song.
I'm
That's gonna
kidding
get you in
about
trouble.
my mom. I know the mass song.
I haven't heard it yet. Can you play it?
Do you really want to hear it? Oh goodness, this is gonna be great.
It's purposely bad. Do you not get the joke? It's not trying
I get
to be
the
good.
joke.
I'm not even singing to the music. I make those in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's so good. And then the part where you say, "Wear it to school or to the gym." Yeah, it's just funny. I wish.
It's so bad that on purpose, but of course I say that,
Is there any
sucks
doubt
dick.
that the debate is going to happen, or is it because
0% chance?
Because before, I mean, there's never been a question.
Wait, there
before
just
that
won't.
they
Yeah,
should
you're
have.
just saying there won't be a debate. I'm kind of confused by this. I guess I'm.
Well,
out of the loop.
I was kind of looking into it. So the debates that got big is when Kennedy and Nixon had their first debate, and Kennedy looked all like
course,
good
that
and
was
tan,
when-
and Nixon like looked like a piece of shit,
Right.
disheveled old man,
It was
and
the
that's what they
first one
say
on
won
TV,
the
right?
election.
Yeah.
And so this really only started in the 60s. So like basically what the Democrats are going to say is like it's only a 60-year tradition. It's not even really that part of the presidential process, and that it's not really worth it for Biden to be on his toes like that because he hasn't answered one question that wasn't pre-written for him, and whenever he does, he shits the bed. So the fact, Jaron, that you see his interviewing skills, you think they're going to put him on a microphone with Donald Trump and Joe Rogan in the room with him, dude? They're like two sharks and a little freaking minnow. I mean, they're going to kill
but
him.
they absolutely should, and people should recognize that if he won't do that, and here we already have Rogan who said, "Okay, absolutely, I'll host it, I'll do it." Those just us three cameras, and that's it.
They wouldn't let him go in there with Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper by his side. You know what I mean?
With
And did
pre-written-
you see his thing with Anderson Cooper? Like they're walking him through it. They're not
Right.
they're supposed to social distance the whole time, and then they have footage of them whispering in each other's
And then
ears.
he pulls
I mean,
up
dude,
a
Biden
picture.
is purposely either put in to fail or put in to win, because what they're going to do is they're going to win.
Oh,
He's going to
scary.
win the overall vote with illegal ballots in these Democratic cities, but Trump's going to win the Electoral College. So we're going to have some sort of nightmare dystopian a transitional period where nobody's going to accept it, where they're going to try to decide it through social media and Twitter and Facebook who the freaking president is.
I'm afraid that they put him in to win. I don't know how. You're right, though. I mean, he shows a picture the other day on an interview, and you can see the reflection of the teleprompter in front of him. He's sitting at his desk. Imagine me doing this show with a teleprompter. Like, what the hell?
It's
ridiculous.
not good, dude. He's not fit to run the country, no doubt. I mean, he's not fit to run a Dairy Queen. He's not fit to run a CVS, Jaron. I'm telling you, if you try to put him to manage a CVS, he would fail
He would
and
be in
get
trouble.
fired immediately.
He can barely
District
speak,
manager
man.
would fire him the same day.
If
He's
life,
incoherent. I mean, he's a liability.
oh man, if life was real, I mean, Trump would win in a landslide. And you can hate Trump all you want, and you can say, oh, yeah. But if you're talking about a real election, those are the only two options. Trump should win by a landslide. And today I saw the polls again. Biden up by 19 points in Pennsylvania. You're like, what the hell? I mean, come on.
All the
ridiculous.
volunteers are Democratic-leaning people anyway, so that's why it's going to be so easy in California and New York and these places where they know it's going to be Democratic to stuff the ballot boxes. Like, it's not going to work in Texas, really, but it's going to work in those places. So there's going to be an overwhelming majority vote for Biden. He's going to win like by 20 million votes or something. But Trump's going to get 270 electoral votes, like crush him in that. And it is going to be a shit show for lack
I've been getting a lot of text message solicitations from the Democrats saying, hey, big day's coming up. Can we count on you to make some phone calls, supporting blah, 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 blah. And I normally just don't even respond, but the last two times they sent it to me, I sent them back the clip to the compilation of Biden's creepiness, and I just write back, have you seen this?
That's alarming.
And then I got one response. It was, thank you. We'll remove you from the list.
Nice. That's alarming. I don't know why you'd be getting those text messages anyway. What number list is your phone number on
I don't
where
know.
they
I
think
guess
you're
'cause
going to
I
help
was a
with?
registered Democrat at one point, years ago.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Now,
All right.
I get them randomly. I think it's just because you're in that county and they have your phone number on a list. You probably just got that number recently. You're definitely on some sort of list with your email and your
This number that I've had for 40 years, that number that I just got recently.
Well, that's even more to be on a list. No, I'm saying that number, the older it is even more to be on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. I could see how I'm on the list. I couldn't see how I wouldn't be on the list. I just can't see how they're so stupid to actually send that to me. They've done zero research.
Here you go,
Well,
Dave.
it's an artificial intelligence computer. It doesn't even know who you are.
We'll listen to this for a second, Dave, and then when are you going on tour, Alex, with the girl?
Oh, me and Patty Shukla?
Yeah.
Well, it just depends. It depends on her probation right now because she's not allowed to be within a certain distance of a school until she gets her charges dropped. But we're preparing an album to take this. We're going to take this international. So
here you go, Dave. Enjoy.
Shut your eyes. Put on the mask before you go to class.
This is so bad. I can't watch this. This is embarrassing.
Baby. Watch the news for your COVID strategy. Wear your mask when you're outside at the bar. Wear your mask when you're in the car or the gym.
I think it's funny.
Bad.
I'm sorry. I think it's funny.
It's so bad that it's funny. See, if you guys are comedy
I actually
masters
like it.
me,
I like.
yeah,
I need
into it.
humor. You need humor in this life. I swear to you. And anybody who doesn't think that that's funny, then get out. I mean, I really, it's just, I don't know. I need humor. I need it badly. And they've taken humor away from us. There used to be great comics like, George Carlin and these guys that were allowed to say anything. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Have you ever seen the comedy on Netflix? You're not allowed to have a comedy special unless you start in the first 5 minutes by saying, "What's with all the people who vote for Trump?" That's the only way you can get a Netflix comedy special. Or
Did we discuss with Alex the fish fans that listen to Bravo group?
No, but you can tell him. He probably knows.
I love Bravo. You know I'm a Bravo celebrity, dude.
Yeah,
I know.
Love Bravo. So there's a group called Fish Fans that watch Bravo or whatever.
Can't
and I
believe it.
guess the number one thing on Bravo is the Dallas Housewives. And they were and my daughter Marina is in that group, and she said she went in there and they were all discussing this idiot that crashed in on the set, and they're just saying what an idiot is, and she's sitting there like, he was at my house.
Yes.
I told her to post a pic. I said, just post a picture of him holding the mooring of the Flat Earth Yacht Club mooring and say, is this him? And see what happens. And she's like, nope, not doing it.
Oh, she needs to do that, dude. I mean, yeah, I love Bravo. I'm not gonna hide that. So when I was really fangirling when I met them, and that's actually gone viral in a bunch of Bravo girls. And I'm actually so mad because, dude, I keep on reaching out to Andy Cohen, and I'm about to file a lawsuit in small claims court because I want to get their attention. They don't want to play the clip because of two reasons: because I called them out for the CDC guidelines, and because I said that Leanne, a past housewife, got kicked off for being racist. So that's why they'll never play that clip. But dude, I got to get them to include that on the show. If they don't include that a cop came to that party on the real episode, that is the fakest crap in the world. That has to be national media, reality news. I know that sounds terrible. To us, it sounds stupid.
We know
to us, it sounds stupid. To us, it sounds stupid. But to the community of Bravo celebrities like your daughter, David, that you don't know about, they would say, what the heck? This proves it's fake. Dude, I could debunk, even though we know it's already fake. I could actually be the debunker of the debunker.
This is what watching reality television does to your brain.
Yes.
You don't know how to do it. You don't know anything about reality TV. I have much more. You know more about the flat Earth. I know more about reality TV. Fact.
What is
true.
Bravo,
He's been there.
then? Tell me. I have no
It's
idea.
the #1 network. It's owned by NBC, and it's run by this gay guy named Andy Cohen, who's best friends with Anderson Cooper. So it's a way. It's a way to be brainwash all these housewives. They have all these franchises in different cities called Real Housewives of LA, Real Housewives of Orange County, Real Housewives of New York City, Real Housewives of Dallas. And there's these vapid women that are all rich and they all hate each other and they're all drunk and high on Xanax and they're all fighting with each other. And it's entertaining. And so I like it. And so there's recently filming at a park near my house, and I ran in and I started causing a bunch of drama asking for Andy Cohen and all this stuff, and they called the cops on me. And then when the cops came, I left nicely. But while I was there, I kept on calling them out. They're like, "You got to stay 6 feet away." And then when they came up to me, I was like, "You got to stay 6 feet away from me, buddy." And so they don't want to air.
Did you have a mask? Did you have a full?
No
mask, no nothing, dude. I'm all up in their face, trying to kiss these women, hugging them. I was taking it a little too far, but I was I'm a line crosser. I'm a habitual line stepper. But that's not the problem. The problem is he's a hypocrite. Andy Cohen, all he does is talk about mask this, mask that. His own crew is not in the mask. And if the show doesn't show a person going and having the cops called to her fake party, at this park, then the show has no integrity. I mean, zero. And so everybody.
When is this supposed to happen?
Exactly.
They were filming you?
Well, that's the whole timeline. See, they filmed this 3 or 4 months in advance, right? So they filmed all this. So now they got to decide how they're going to edit it by the time it airs. And people are hungry because right now there's like nothing new on. So it's one of the few shows Bravo is filming because it's so easy to get these dumbass housewives and film this shit. So that's why we have like a 2-month window or 3-month window. They're like, are they going to decide to show me in it? And it's getting shared in all these Facebook groups. Like it started off in the Highland Park, My Little City Facebook group, and 10 different girls have sent it to me. Like David's fish fans for Bravo. There's like gays for Bravo, blacks for Bravo, Trump's for Bravo. There's all these Bravo groups, and they're in all those groups. So yes, so the fans have seen it. In my one clip of it, I have 47,000 views on my Facebook page. So and that's been shared to other people. Have already ripped that off. So it's going in that community. It's like the flat Earth community. It's not that big. You know who Karen B is. You know who the Dallas Housewives are. You know what I mean? You figure this shit out, and they're interested in that. They're gonna see if they really show it on the show.
Wow. So that's coming maybe in 3 months, you say?
Well, when the season airs here, I don't even know if they have a release date. I'll tell you right now. But that's what I'm saying. See, they film it now and then they air it 3 months later.
You'll never make it. Sorry, just letting you know. I know you've.
And I don't even care if I don't. I hope I don't, because then we can even fuck with him more. Because then I can really get after Andy Cohen's ass.
Never happens.
You'll see, dude. You'll see. You guys are so negative. I'm positive vibe line.
No,
we're gonna have some positivity.
What was it called? Glass House. That's the extent of your.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm gonna be so many greater things in Glass House. I'm gonna break
down, Alex. Not Thursday. It's Friday.
Oh yeah, it's a Friday show, Alex.
It's like Hillary, though. I'm in Hillary mode. I'm ready to break the glass ceiling, guys.
It wasn't Hero gonna share his screen for something?
He left.
He went to cook though.
He left?
Hero, are you back?
No, he's here.
He had to go cook. He said he'll be back.
Oh, okay. I thought he was gonna be back in 10 minutes.
He had to go cook? That's what he said? Is that really what he said? He had to go cook? Nice.
I think so. Isn't it late there?
Yeah, it's like after midnight, I think. Hero, are you back? I don't know if he's back yet. You sent me a couple clips. Yes, Joe Biden. Yeah, I saw that. Trump said Joe Biden's a pedophile. Or
it's about 11 o'clock here, so he has the same time as me.
Oh, he's cooking a quesadilla or something for a midnight snack. So, yeah, what else happened yesterday? Anything that was... Oh, I was going to say anything else that the guy said that was compelling to you, Dave, that made you believe that you live on a spinning rock in space? Anything from Goodman? Oh,
no, absolutely not. I mean,
I thought
I saw what we were up against, and I think we started to get him though at the end. So we'll see. He's not one of those guys out there that's bad-mouthed in flat Earth. I don't have a problem with him. He's doing his thing, and he's not slamming flat Earth. But if he starts saying, the Earth isn't flat because of this stupid reason, then he's going to poke the bear, and it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. If you would have had some images of crashed balloons, like that Samsung balloon that fell in a person's yard, that would have blown his mind, because he's never heard of a satellite on a balloon. You could tell he'd never heard of that concept in his entire life.
Yeah, I don't know. He was new to him for sure. There was a lot of things
that was a surprise to me that shocked him. I kind of thought everyone knew, so that might be one I use early on next time.
Well, it really shocked me because I thought he said he'd looked into it or talked to a few people about it, and then he asked the question about, well, how do you circumnavigate the Earth? How do you go from California?
Where's the edge? How come people don't fall off? And
yeah,
I'm like,
so you're like, I don't know. This is 101 kind of stuff. But what are you gonna do?
Didn't we figure that out 4 years ago, Jaron? The whole satellite balloon thing.
Yeah, or longer.
Yeah, or longer. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
and the fact that NASA has these balloon programs and nobody knows about them, or they don't publicize it. Well, that's very
came out recently. They came out recently, to be fair. Like a European Space Agency put out a video. We
Yeah,
covered
but
it.
who saw it? Only we saw it.
Yeah.
You know, the
Very
normal
small.
people didn't see it. You know,
Yeah, no.
I bet if you went down and to wherever there's a lot of people and asked 100 people if they know about satellite balloons, I would say maybe 1 or 2 people would know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think
Could be
they know
zero.
about it. They just because
Could be
that
zero.
never makes the news.
Well, that was
Yeah,
pretty
they
shocking
quietly
when I
rolled
couldn't
that
see any
out,
pictures of satellites.
They just quietly rolled that out a little bit more recently and started showing them to kind of pretend it was always in the background, but people didn't notice. But we saw they had the Corona program years ago, right? And that was the retrieval of balloons and how secretive that was. Remember, with the airplanes. So that was in the 50s already. Right.
Mm-hmm. Ira, are you back? Or are we looking at something else? I don't know where Ira went. He's gone. I saw SpaceX canceled their launch yesterday due to adverse weather conditions. So I think they're supposed to go today if you want to watch another rocket go out to the ocean. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I think,
Is this a tin can?
No, not that one. That one will be fun to watch. But no, this is just another one. Oh, it's going to release 60 satellites. By the way, who is using the satellites for their internet service? Anybody yet? Because it's amazing to me that a company can continue to launch things, distribute 60 satellites, Starlink. It goes across the sky. It's beautiful. Anybody can go look at it, but nobody's. What is it doing? What is it? What is
Do you
the point?
think that there's satellite companies? I mean, you know, there's TV providers or companies that have paid for satellites that believe they're getting satellite data
Absolutely.
and they're not.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay.
Did you see?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the alleged Starlink satellite crashes? It came burning up in the atmosphere the other day.
No.
No, that's not that
No,
good, is it?
I'll have to show that to you on Sunday.
All right, yeah,
it's pretty
show us
funny.
for sure. Yeah. Oh, that would be funny. Yeah, so I know, of course, that's what's happening, and that's why it's charged so much. I mean, just think how much money you can pocket if you tell people, oh, it's going to be $250 million to set up this, and then they can just send up a few balloons and maintain the balloons. You know, which one's easier?
How many balloons they said? I think the number was mentioned the other day that they are above in the United States, like thousands of balloons at any one time are above any place. Is that correct? Or
Yeah,
no?
well, we heard a guy, and I forgot, Bob remembers his name better than I do. Bob, who was the guy that did the balloon launch with Rob Skiba, and then we were talking to him, and he said that he talked to a official.
Victor Brewer. Victor Brewer was his name.
Thank you. Yeah, and he was talking to some official, right, who said to him, like, you know, oh, you didn't know at any one time.
Air Force Colonel.
Air Force Colonel, right, who said at any one time there's over 50,000 balloons above your head. So, I mean, that's
I think it
just
was
something-
10,000, but close enough. You know, a shit ton.
Was it 10,000?
Shit done.
I think so, but I may be wrong. But it was a lot.
Plus, you can find
Yeah,
online
because
where NASA's
the
at
whole
least launching 50 a day. So that's
Yeah, the whole kind of Hindenburg type technology, they apparently just took that and went dark with it for all these years, and they've been using helium like crazy. I mean, those balloons we saw that can stay up for months, and they're massive. It was back. He had the info.
I'm ready.
he's ready. All right.
Well, if he's
Ready already.
Yeah, I'm ready. If it's still worth it, I don't know, because I was off the show.
What are we talking about? Let's do it. Let's share screen.
Okay, no, I really like to talk about the so-called interview that you have with this Jason guy.
Goodman, yes.
And discuss a few things that for me it's nice to discuss, just on the simple art of the discussion itself.
Beautiful.
But
and,
yeah.
And then Dave, just so we know, are we gonna? Do you want to? Somebody waiting to take calls? Are we taking calls after, or do we need to do that?
We could take some calls. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure who's around, but let's take some calls.
Okay, go ahead, Iru. You're up. Whenever
All
you're
right.
sharing, I will show you to the world.
Okay, supposedly I'm sharing right now, but you tell me that nothing's appear.
No, black screens
Can't
matter.
see anything.
Okay, well let me just, because I assumed it's the monitor. Maybe let me know if right now it's something I'm not sharing yet.
I just got black screen on my side.
Okay.
Anybody
Nice.
else? Anybody else seeing anything?
No, I'm going to let me just stop sharing, and now I'm sharing.
Yes, you are.
Okay, yes, is the monitor. Is the
Okay.
monitor. Well, I trying to give my approach to the discussion. I just finished to listen, and by the way, I sent very hellos to Renata, because when I saw the woman talks
I
about me
forgot.
and Linda, that was amazing. I showed Linda, of course, that part of the show. And I don't know exactly the background of this guy, because I didn't know who really is. I just make a small research and saw that he has like a channel with 100,000 subscribers, and I assume he's like a journalist or something like that, right?
You got it right. Yep.
Okay, and he talks about conspiracy topics also.
Not as much. I mean, he's more of a citizen journalist. I'm sure he's on board with 9/11 and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
But I
saw
thought
a few.
I thought anybody who's
about 9/11.
Yeah, and I thought anybody who was in on 9/11 or at least understands that would recognize that we didn't go to the moon. So that was shocking to me when you start out with that, and you saw him trying to almost change the subject when I said at the beginning, do you think? Well, hold on, let me give my spiel here. He didn't want to just say from the beginning, yes, I think we went to the moon, and then he said, oh, I kind of don't know. There's evidence on both sides. I mean, there's really not, unless you are really wanting to hold on to that belief. In which case,
he definitely watched that debunking of the shadows. That that whatever the mainstream media thing was,
right? And there's explanations for everything, right? I mean, anybody who shows a waving flag,
no, there's not.
No, there's not. But that's what these guys say. I mean, and they go and watch MythBusters, and they consider what those guys did, even though you have to tear that apart and look at what they're doing and show that it's not anything like what is actually supposed to happen on the. Remember the one time they used studio lights to show that there could be these certain shadows, and you're like, yeah, but that's what we're saying. There was studio lights. That's what we're saying. You can't go and build a model and use studio lights and say, see, we can get the same shadows. It's like, yeah, you're using studio lights. So that's the point. So, I mean, that's the problem with MythBusters.
And the T-shirt has a reflector as well.
Yeah, exactly. The T-shirt is a reflector. There's so many things wrong. I mean, they went to that one observatory, right, and told everybody, oh, we're going to get a response from these. And he said the same thing, right, that there's some sort of reflector on the moon. Oh, we just go and we shoot this laser beam. It comes back. And they even tell you we're sending 4 quadrillion photons, and if we get one back, that means that it shot off the. I mean, just think of how ridiculous that is. Anybody who's ever used a laser or seen how much a laser expands at any distance, and I've seen it expand to 10 feet at 4 miles, many more, and that would just grow exponentially as well. So think about shooting something off the moon 238,000 miles away. It's ridiculous. It would do the whole moon. So it wouldn't matter that you had any kind of, this little tiny mirror that's like the size of 3 feet by 3 feet. It's a joke. Anyway.
Completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead here.
And in fact, I really, agree with you, Gerard, with David, and with Rose. I mean, if you don't be an open-minded, it is like really difficult to, just that, open your mind and accept that you maybe made food. And the typical question, well, but why they going to lie us? Like if if he's on board on the 9/11, the same questions appear.
Right.
Why they going to fake all that type of things? I mean, but I noticed that a few of the topics maybe I don't know. First of all, I'm going to ask why he was on the show. That was a David strategic thing, right?
I don't think it was strategy.
because he has a large audience and he's an intelligent guy, and I was on his show and I was like, let's talk flat Earth, and he was like, let's do it.
Okay. No, that is the part that I didn't understand correctly.
The real story.
I'd rather talk to a non-flat earther on a show than have This is a different show. But what I try to do is get new people to ask, and bring them on board, like I did with Owen.
Yeah. And you are the king of that, man. You are the
king. I just have the loudest mouth.
Right. Well, but you do a really good job. Alex Jones, Benjamin Owen, Owen Benjamin is also, I mean, that is why I ask, and I imagine that it was David's idea to bring that guy on the show. But why you was in his show?
he was supposed to simulcast it on his show, but he had some issue, he said.
No, I know what David just said, and that might be the case that he was on you were on his show a long time ago, right, Dave?
No, like a couple months.
Okay, but really the reason
about what?
the reason
About
you told me
flat-
was because he was on that girl show, and somebody in the chat said something about flat smacking, and he didn't know what that was. I thought
Right.
that's what you told me.
Well, that was it. I mean, I was on his show, and we were supposed to talk about flat Earth, but we never got off of the cops setting the fire
I
to
do.
the van.
I do remember you being on the show with Ole.
Yeah,
Okay, I remember that. But then most recently, whose show was he on? The girl.
Beth Martin.
Beth Martin, right. And somebody in the
Yeah.
chat said something about flat smacking, and he didn't know what that was, and she's kind of on board with it, so that's how it got started that Dave thought it'd be good to talk to him.
Yeah, and then I reached out to him. I said, hey, I explained what flat smacking was. He said, yeah, let's do it. And we set a date. And I don't regret doing the show. I think that he's got some stuff to think about now. And it also taught us a little bit on what we're up against with hypnosis.
So it wasn't. So it was better than a debate. It was more of a conversation.
Yeah, it wasn't a debate, really.
No.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, it was a
No,
conversation.
but
That's cool.
it has, he wrote Rouge, or I don't know how to pronounce a hot point in the conversation.
He got mad at me and
Which
was
is-
going to leave shortly because I was putting words in his mouth as he said it. But all I was trying to point out is like what you were saying, is like what I've said many times. I mean, it's if you want to hold on to the ball belief, it's very easy. And it would be very easy for me to do if I wanted to. And I would be able to debate any of you guys, and I would debate any flat earther, and I could just sit there and just repeat whatever the mainstream thing is. And for every distance that you see too far, I could say it's refraction. And for every time you tell me that there's no noticeable curvature, I would say, yeah, because the ball is too big. And you would tell me, yeah, but water sticks to the ball, doesn't make any sense. And I would say, no, but you don't believe in gravity. And gravity is what holds the water clearly. And you would say, yeah, but we don't have atmosphere next to the vacuum. That can't work. And I would say, no, it does work because gravity's holding the atmosphere. And you'd say, yeah, but do you really think the atmosphere is spinning with the Earth? And I would say, yes. And well, why does a plane go? Well, because the plane's moving within that atmosphere. So no matter what it is, it'd be very easy just to always answer with, that's not somebody to me that has an open mind. That's somebody who already
he definitely
has
did not have an open mind to it.
Right, that's
You
somebody
sound
who's
like
already got a
Simon Dan.
Right, so that's a very easy position to take. I didn't know going into it. Now, again, somebody who's at least able to say, no, we didn't go to the moon, that's a great a starter, because that person has clearly been inundated with information that says we have been to the moon. It's taught in school, it's told you on the media, it's constant everywhere, you're not allowed to question it, and that person has been able to get rid of that and come to their own conclusion. That's step one. Once somebody's able to do that, you can have any conversation with somebody. And I've said this before, right? Once I found flat Earth, I no longer hear something and say, that's absolutely ridiculous. I will never stand. It's why? Because it takes time sometimes, and you have to look at some things. So that's why you hope that you get somebody who's open to say, that's interesting. I've never seen that. Oh, I've never seen Canagoo. How far is that supposed to be below? Oh, it's supposed to be 2,000 feet. Well, that's weird that we can see it. But somebody who just sees that and says, okay, what is the explanation for this? Well, it's because of the way the light is shining on the silhouette. And why does the moon do this? Well, it's because this. And it's just very easy to come up with constant responses. So to me, I would hope. But Dave does great at that. That's why I said if it was Rose and Dave, they probably would have been great doing that. I get frustrated with those people because I just get to the point where I'm like, well, I don't know if this is really worth having. But I do think I agree with Dave. I don't regret doing the show. I think it's good to show people at the end. Dave said, okay, you've been here an hour, so now tell us the one reason that you know we live on a globe. And his answer was because that's what he was taught, which is always been our point.
Think right there. He planted his own seed. Like that's not
a good enough reason to believe in anything. And that's why, I had a lot of problems with the religion I was taught. And, because why do you believe these things? Well, that's what I was taught as a
I
child.
think we did more damage.
Well, David,
to his
you brought up
global belief
evolution.
than anyone's realizing.
David, you brought up evolution. He didn't really react. I wonder what he thinks about God. Did he say anything about that?
I think he's probably a believer in evolution, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just because he brought up...
See, what if Jason Goodman's an atheist and he can't ever believe that we're on a flat Earth?
Well, some people said he's not, because I made the same subject. As soon as I heard that, it made me jump to that conclusion, because I've just seen so many people that once you become an atheist, you will defend that forever. Why? Well, mostly
No
because you've already claimed that there is no God. So the worst thing that you could ever have happen to you is to be like, oh shit, there might be, right? So
we have to increase the insignificance of the universe, like how we are nothing. We're just an accident. You have to reinforce that.
Right, and that's why they've added trillions of miles. I mean, if they just said that things were 1,000 miles away or 1,000,000 miles away, people would be like, oh, that's still. But when you say trillions of miles away, it really does erase the idea. Oh, there's a creator and he made this little round ball Earth and put Jesus here. I mean, none of that makes any sense when you think of the universe being, oh, it's ever expanding and it's an infinite size and it came from a big bang and the Earth is not special and everything's moving away from everything. I mean, that just erases that whole thing. So it's a brilliant plan, and then from there you need to add all the other things, right? Dinosaurs. Why? Because dinosaurs prove that the Earth has been here a long time and it's not new. And yet, so it's always these steps to erase any kind of connection with being important, being created, being accountable for what happens here. And I think if you look around this world, everybody that we see is a result, well, not everybody, but the people that are bad people are a result of this mentality, because they believe that all that counts is what happens here on Earth. So they know that it doesn't matter if they're dirtbags or if they're thieves, as long as they don't get caught. Doesn't matter if they are pedophiles. Doesn't matter, because all that matters is you live this life to the best of your ability, you try to have a good time, and you don't get caught for doing the wrong things. And that's why people get rich and powerful, because it's true. If you do step on people and you do tell lies and you do things behind the backs of others and you collude with others and you conspire with others, then you do get ahead in this life. The problem is that you probably will not be in any way rewarded for that. And I think there is another round, another plane of existence, another step in our evolution, if you want to call it that, that you will be held responsible for those things. That's just my belief. Now, again, I would be willing to believe otherwise if I was given the evidence for it, and I did at one time start to believe in atheism and start to go that direction until I saw they're not giving me evidence and facts. It's just another religion on the other side. It's just more people who simply all agree with something because that's what they were taught. That's why people believe in evolution. And then you have teachers. Teachers come out and say that they don't believe in evolution, but they're required to teach it. I mean, that's a huge thing. And so all these things that are required by school are things that just simply indoctrinate the students. And we were just talking about it earlier. Now, all of a sudden, that there's a platform like the internet, like cell phones, whatever, where people are allowed to say their opposing views to those things. Now the mainstream is flipping out. They're flipping out. They're saying, oh, look how dangerous this is. People with like-minded ideas can get together, and because there's a few of them, they all start to believe it. It's like, yeah, but that's what you've been doing forever. Is you've created a system where you've taught these people, and because they all believe the same thing, they all agree it's true. That's all that's happening. Astrophysicists like Neil deGrasse Tyson, the guy's never been to space, but he'll tell you all about exoplanets and how they were formed and that gold came from the center of neutron stars and that they weigh 21 billion pounds for a teaspoon. He doesn't know that. He simply is part of that group that got together, were told, read from this book. They all read it in class. They all had to answer questions. And guess what? Just like with what you say happens with conspiracy theories, it's the same exact thing. It's a problem because those people sat in that classroom. They all read the same book. They all were told it was the truth. They all answered those questions on the test. And because of what you did in that small situation, those people all now believe that they have the truth. The same thing they're saying now. This is why we can't have the internet. This is what happens when there is no because people who get together that's why they say flat earth is dangerous, because we're able to say things on a platform where like-minded people will come and back up what we say, and then other people will see that, and because a few people say it, they believe it. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why we're speaking out against it. They want to stop that. Why? Because only they are allowed to be in charge of what is said in places where a few people will read it and believe it. It's just ridiculous. Go ahead, Hiro. Sorry, you're sharing something.
No, man, come on. It's a great script.
Great range.
I don't know how to call that. Completely agree. I mean, it's like you mentioned. I just want to share, because one of the argument when you start discussing the different size in the continent, in this case, the North America, was like the vertigo effects, which is true in some of the, there is something called, vertigo effects, which is the type of illusion that you can create with, at the same time that you are changing the FOB, the focus of angle. You need also to move it's I mean, you need to move the camera. You need to move the actual physical camera. It cannot be produced just because you are zooming on the on the object, or maybe because you are changing fob. And for example, one of the things is that if I have this spherical Earth, which is a 3D model, and I have this camera of 36 millimeters, it's going to seem that way. And if I change to something more like, which is used in the Epic Discovery camera, which is, let me just show before I produce this very quickly. If you go to this type of picture, for example, where you can see North America a little small, and it's like here is South America, and you go to NASA official webpage and you download the technical specifications, they don't, at least in this paper, they don't talk much about the type of lenses. They say that it's a telescope lens with a 0.61 field of focus. I don't know how to translate that in English, but I take that PDF from the official site. What he's trying to point is that this effect, this is the same distance of the camera, and it's true that if you have a more fob in your camera, you can see parts where are invisible or obscure in the other configuration. But the thing is that if I show this from a different perspective, that is one of the camera, and the other one is really far away. And when you're trying to, if you need to put this type of, if you want to take this type of images from outer space, you need to go like 1 million of miles away from the Earth, the spherical Earth. And if you going to argue about the vertigo effects, you also need to go really far away of the initial place where you take the photograph. And if you don't do that, if you just are 1 million away, 1 million of mile away, and you just change the focus, the angle of focus, the difference is going to be really tiny. It's not going to be like this. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I just comment on that argument because for me it's not valid argument. The real thing is that they don't have any actual real picture taken by a camera.
Right.
They own say that everything from 1972, that was the original and the only one supposedly taken by the human. The rest is all CGI composite. Right. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Composite.
And that is, composite. And that is an official thing. If you're going to argue the vertigo effects, you need to go like from 1 mile, if you change fob and you want to take the same type of size, but with that effects apply, you need to go like, 100 times more far away from the object, which is something that no camera, they don't even argue that. I mean, they don't, the NASA, they don't even say that. I mean, all the pictures are taken from 1 million miles away from the Earth to have that type of size. And of course, everything is false color, everything is a composition of different layers, different channels, blah, blah, blah. Next, something that at least for me is something to remind is that if you go, this is a very nice thing at least to cover, and I showed this many times in the past, but this is one of the things that I'm start thinking, well, of course, everybody knows that the globe exists from maybe 1500 and until our days. But the idea of there is a U.S. patent of 1905 that talks about the device for producing illusionary effects, and this is a man-made spherical Earth with all the drawings, or all the continents, or trying to recreate how the spherical Earth will be. Because this is 1905, of course, nobody get out of space. And the guy behind that is a military guy, which is called H.S. Maxim, is this guy that he died in 1916. He was an inventor. He was one of the guy who invent a lot of things in terms of machine guns, and it has a lot of patent. He works also with Thomas Edison, and he created a few, electrical lamps. What I'm trying to say is that, when you go to Hollywood history, when you go with Disney, when you go to the Jesuit order creating the magic lantern, which is translated like a projector, a lamp to project images, and the circle of people that participate in that type of technology or techniques are always the same and very, very small circle of people working on that. And in fact, if you go to the patent itself, it's going to tell you that the idea was to a spherical shape, the exterior may be smooth and painted to resemble the geographical globe of the Earth, with blah, 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 blah. The guy's trying to do that for, producing illusionary effects to give this, it's like an Epcot Center thing, but more small and in at the beginning of the 20th century. And that remind me that, just for simplify things here, but this is the amazing thing. I mean, when you start, picture this idea of, okay, the 1972 image is a picture, for me, completely is a picture. It's a picture of a painting ball that they are produced so many times in the, or at least they trying to produce the best scenario possible. And when you saw this type of NASA engineerings, with an actual spherical Earth painted without the clouds and also rotating. So how much difference you need to, paint in the clouds and take a picture of this to present as a real, supposedly picture of the Earth.
Yeah,
So
they believe in the difference between movie props or something. They would say this is something they would use in Hollywood, and then they believe there's a difference between that and whatever NASA shows because of the authority of NASA as a theme, as you brought up. So, yeah.
And for me, I mean, if we are in the debate, you don't have any, unique picture taken from outer space to believe that we live in a sphere. No, they cannot, I mean, you can show or contrast the information if somebody tell you, well, we have one picture, which is the 1972. Well, at least I can show you from a Mercury missions that the employees in NASA, they use a spherical Earth with all the technical stuff just to fake that picture, and you don't have any kind of video. You don't even see the spherical Earth rotating presented by NASA. You don't have any live anything that can corroborate that is from a real outer space scenario. And when let me just close this and the US patent and all that type of stuff. And also the Canigou. And the explanation of the Canigou for me is really like a joke, because if you're going to argue that some way the sun acts like a projector lamp, bringing for like in some of the picture that we saw taken by normal people, you need like 400 I believe was like 4,000 meters, something like that, to elevate and appear in the perfect line of the horizon. And if this was the case, you never I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say you never, but when you see actual video, you don't see any change in the shape of the mountain, in the contour of the mountain. You don't see any, even not just in terms of the maybe the like Fata Morgana effect. No, you don't even see the mountains moving up or moving down. It's
nothing.
The sun
solid.
is it's completely solid and stationary, and the sun, in this case, we are completely 100% that is the sun which is moving. But if you want to take like the Earth is rotating, the fact is, if that was the case, you're gonna see something like this. Imagine that this plane is the atmosphere where the mountain is projected, right? And we have the sun completely parallel in this moment. So if the Earth is rotating or the sun is moving away, the fact is that you need to have this type of thing where the contour of the mountain start lifting up from the horizon.
Right. And then when
plus,
the sun's and then when it's above it would go down.
Exactly, and exactly, it's going to go down and disappear. Imagine that, of course, we are looking from outside of this scenario. The picture was taken like something like that, and I need to delete this, and you're going to see something like this, right? So the fact is that I cannot reproduce that because I didn't prepare that with a transparent like an atmosphere. But what I'm trying to say is that if that is the argument, first of all, the sun is not a projection lamp. But I understand what he said. He said, okay, this is a 2D representation project in the atmosphere layer. Well, if that is the case, you need to have distortion of the image. You need to have movement of the contour. It cannot be fixed if the light is moving or the object is moving and change position between that lamp and the shadow that is produced that lamp, because he trying to tell that this is just like a shadow projecting in a super thick atmosphere layer. But the fact is that his arguments are good in terms of if you just approach the topic without even take the time to analyze and see, and it's he drops the first that came to his mind. And
he has the mentality that it can't possibly be that the mountain is there. So from there, you just need to make up any kind of excuse that makes sure that you're not saying that the mountain is there, because that is the worst thing you could possibly say. If the mountain's there, then clearly the size that we've been told about the globe and that it's round and it's curved, that's all in question. So you have to then at that point just fill in the blanks for anything that says that the mountain's not there. Now, we've heard the meteorologists tell us that what we're seeing is a mirage, right? Because by saying a mirage, then you're not actually seeing the buildings across Lake Michigan. What you're seeing is a mirage of the buildings. He just changed that to say, well, you're not actually seeing a mountain. What you're seeing is some sort of shadow or projected image, 2D image of the mountain. So that's where it's like, okay, well, I mean, if we're just able to say that, then that's where I kind of got got disinterested, is the fact that, well, and this is the problem with most people, is it doesn't matter how far we see, there will always be an answer, and that answer can always be refraction. Again, we've talked about these guys that actually believe that if the Earth was bigger, that the refraction is such that you'd be able to see yourself with a telescope if you could see infinitely and all these things. Why? Because they have this idea that the light bends constantly with the curvature of the Earth. Doesn't matter what size it gets. The only argument I've heard a lot of people say from a flat Earth standpoint that I don't agree with at all is I don't agree with people saying, well, the Earth could be a sphere but be bigger than they tell us. I don't even think that that's possible. I don't think it matches with observation. It doesn't match with stars.
I think that's kind of intermediary state that some people, when they realize that what they've seen from balloon footage and airplanes, everything looks so totally flat, that's one of the things they kind of imagine in order to try to explain it. We still have space and spinning ball and other things. Right. They just make it much bigger.
Oh, it's like a gigantic ball. No, it doesn't work. At least
no, not at all. And that is why I really like, because at the end of the day, if you are going to discuss this topic, what is the problem? The problem is an optical problem or is it geometrical problem? because at the end, if you are going to argue based on refraction and reflect, blah 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 blah, well, the problem is something that it's an optical issue, and we are trying to understand a geometrical thing, which is the curvature of the air, and you cannot present it that. And in fact, that is why I really love the observation from Chitola and media, because at least he's not on the ground, and he is a little bit above that optical issue that you're going to have always, that you're trying to see far away from the ground. And when you present this, and I really like to present this to people that argue that type of things in terms of the Canigou or maybe the Chicago, Michigan, it's that, well, this guy is an engineer. He filmed a mountain which is 950 kilometers away. That is 3 times the prediction of the globe, and he is looking above the atmosphere, not of course outside the system, but at least is in the place with the optical deformation. It's almost negligible, or it's not so much as is in the ground.
Right. Yeah, it's so variable, right, as in the ground. That's the problem. But one of the things is, I even been contacted by people who know about the whole science of refraction and how things, long-term observations and so on and so forth. And that by itself debunks the ball too. They use those excuses, but it means they don't know anything about refraction. That's what it means. They just trying to make some stuff up to fill in the gaps and the holes. But
that is why everything reduced to, well, man, if you want to be an open-minded, take your time. If not, nothing is going to convince you, to help you. To help you. Exactly. It's impossible. It doesn't matter. You can argue, go and, back and forth between that. No, the vertigo effects, you need to move your camera away to have that type of effect. This is completely CGI image. NASA is telling you in your face, and then he's going to jump with another thing, and you revalue that. And it doesn't matter how many fights in terms of discussion you win, because they're going to bring a new one all the time and trying to stick to that one and
turn it
only
around.
that one. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So if people say, "Oh, I can see the curvature from a flight," and then you say, "No, you can't," because Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see it from it. Then they just say, "Oh, well, then you can see it from 120,000." There, so it doesn't matter what step you take. They'll always have a position.
That was the part of the plan of how the Rothschilds controlled the world back in with the control of communism, creating two sides of something that was a control operation, right? But two completely opposite fake opposition, essentially. That is how that works as well.
Yeah. The simple fact is we can't see far because there's atmosphere in the way. So like Ira said, when you get up, is that me?
No, that's no. It's my phone. Okay. But let me just
meaning the point I was trying to make is that for any system that you can come up with, and this is what we see here actually with the responses we get, what Jaren's fed up with, and what Ida has just been talking about, which is that for any system we can create of explanations, they will come around and turn that around, because that is possible with the logic of the language. So they'll just pick up on anything and they'll claim that explains their position instead.
Right.
Like what you're saying, that phenomenon that they go to Rantes and they say, "Oh yeah, he just proved the ball."
Right. It's a flaw with probably human explanation of words or any kind of explanation of phenomenon. And I've kind of realized that recently more than ever before, where I used to say, "Oh, this is an objective thing." And then you kind of realize, "Oh, wait a second, people can really use words in any way that they want and just claim anything." And so, they're always going to have an answer. And for people who want that to be correct, they're always going to believe it. Now, I understand people might say, "Oh, well, you guys have the same issue." The difference is that as far as I can really tell, I don't really see flat earthers giving one-word answers like gravity and refraction, right? I mean, this is the problem, is that there's kind of a more detailed
frame of reference.
Right, and there's a lot more of like, well, let's really look into what's going on here, because there is a simple fact, and that fact is we are seeing too far, and it certainly doesn't seem to be showing any curvature. And when Jay Tolan gets up there, he can see even further. And again, like you said, they'll just turn that around. They're under the, I don't know if you want to call it a spell or what, but I mean, one of the things that when I started, when they said you can see further the higher you get up, and that proves you're on a sphere, was the most shocking claim I'd ever heard, because they said, what are you talking about? If you get up higher on any flat ground, you would always be able to see higher. If there was nothing but a flat ground for as far as you could see, you're in a Home Depot, right? And there's a 2-year-old baby and a 6-year-old, I mean, a 6 foot tall adult. The adult can see further than the baby.
All you have to think of is how prisons are built. Why is it that the turrets with the guards are higher and the grounds are flat?
Oh, that's because
right?
they just want you to believe that all these things are only possible on a globe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is retarded.
Which is ridiculous. It's like even with my dog, when we take my dog for a walk, if we see a cat way far away in the park or whatever, it is very clear to me that my dog cannot see. My wife and I will joke, like, oh, she's going to see that cat. But here's the thing. The cat is behind the curvature for the dog. It's hilarious. That's what is going on if you're a globe believer, because the dog is so low to the ground that it can only see so far. My wife and I are much taller. We can see the cat down the way. The dog simply can't see it because if you put a camera down there, that cat would be gone. It's behind the distance that you can see. But again, they'll take this and they'll just say, oh, if you can only get up higher and so when you say the sunset, they think, well, the sun sets twice. So it's like Bob said, all these things are just things that happen, like you said, anywhere. They fit in both baskets.
Their imagination has been impaired, I think, by seeing so many of these flying balls and growing up with these flying balls and all this stuff. They couldn't possibly imagine anything else. And that is what is sort of disturbing about this, that leads us to say things like, I mean, what else can you say, right? You reach your point, you're like, retarded. I mean, it is really odd.
It's why you
Jaron?
Yeah.
Jaron, I have got to bow out because I have a commitment to be on Iron Realm Media.
All right,
and they're starting right now. So I just wanted to say thanks for having me on. And when you guys are done, send everybody over to Iron Realm Media. I'll be over there.
Sounds good. All right, everybody, go over there after. Billy Zig sent a super chat. Thank you, Bob, for being on the show. Who said,
cool. See you guys later.
Hi.
If the world is bigger, then it would need to spin even faster to complete a daily revolution, and that changes everything, including every formula relating to the gravitational constant. Impossible.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues with that. But I do still see a lot of people saying that, like, well, it's possible that it's, the reason we can't see very far is because it's even bigger ball. And I've always thought, no, that's not even in the realm of possibility.
Did someone do the calculations where with some of the black swans that we see would mean that the ball would have to be 100 times bigger or some ridiculous number?
Yeah, I think, or even it doesn't matter how bigger. I mean, the ball couldn't possibly be 2 times bigger. It's just not possible.
No, it couldn't be. That's what I'm saying. But 100 times rules it out even more.
Yes, very true. Systems Planet said, launch 10 weather balloons from South America into the jet stream towards Antarctica, broadcasting live video of the wall. Again, that's a great idea. It's a lot easier in saying it than it is in actually doing it. I don't even know. I've heard people talk about drones. I mean, I don't know of any drone that really takes off and broadcasts live for any amount of distance.
How is it going to broadcast from those distances?
Right. There's no cell phone towers or anything for it to broadcast to if you're in
Antarctica. And how would you even locate it afterwards? Because there's no GPS down there.
It'd be gone. Yeah, you're just going to take a loss. You're just send the thing out and take a loss. Really, the answer comes down to a helium ship. I mean, again, it's probably out of the cost thing. And again, I don't know if I'm going to ride in it knowing that when I'm above Antarctica, it'd be very easy to shoot down from any kind of jet and then say, oh, look, these guys crashed trying to take a gravity ship across Antarctica. I mean, they've made it very difficult with and we talked to what's his name about it, right? They not being able to take fuel. That's a huge thing that people don't understand the implications of that. You're not allowed to take fuel below the 60-degree marker. Why? Well, they've really made it so that you can never explore the southern oceans. You just can't do it anymore. Now you can say, oh, well, Captain Cook was able. Yeah, that was different, right? Now you can't do it. It would be bad. VW Blue Sky, warp speed vaccine is less than a year. How about warp speed, a vaccine for that we have been donating to for over 50 years? What? Warp speed, a vaccine for, I don't know. Am I reading that wrong? Anybody else can read that?
Hey, Jaron, I got to bow out, but
okay. Thanks for.
What if Trump is speaking in code and the virus is all of the evil people that are running things and the vaccine
Get
is
out
military?
of here, David. Right now.
The vaccine is the military and he's speaking in code. And because the vaccine's going to come in force like never seen before.
Okay, so November 4th or 5th, whatever it is.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
You're
what
just
if.
saying, what if? Well, I want him to come out and
I
say
need something.
vaccines are damaging.
Sully's gone.
There's no
David
more
Blake's
vaccines
gone.
for children.
I got nothing.
That's what I want to see. I want to see that from him. I want him to say that the moon
What?
landing was fake. That's another thing, right? Remember, now that they say the opposite of whatever Trump says, that's probably why when he said, "Can we go to Mars if I give you an unlimited budget?" They're like, "Wait, you want to go to Mars?" No, we're not going to Mars. So funny. They just say whatever the opposite is. So yeah, that's the problem with launching 10 weather balloons, and they don't travel very far. I mean, weather balloons, as far as we know, and also I don't know if they usually go up past the jet stream, so obviously, and to a place where there's no. So I don't know how you would stop a balloon in the jet stream. They usually go up to 120,000 feet where there is no wind. Well, there might be a little bit, but not much to speak of. The other thing, I don't know, Ira, did you see that video recently of SpaceX's? They did like a speed up launch and landing of their thing, but it's funny because you can hear sound the whole time, which I was like, this is not right. Dwayne Kellum has launched balloons up, even the balloon I did with him, and we launched it, and once it gets about 50 or 60,000 feet, he had this beeping sound that goes off. You couldn't hear any sound after that, so it's just weird that they show that.
No. But just for finish the topic. But
go ahead, sure.
when people said like something like I believe that we went to the moon, I always trying to show this, and they are trying to explain why this astronaut can't keep on his needs.
Right.
I mean, and then if you're trying to defend this, you are a complete idiot, and I don't want to talk to you anymore in my life.
Right.
Because if you are a person that was educated, and you're trying to give some explanation of this behavior, it doesn't matter if it's in the moon, in the earth.
Able to kneel down or something is just so odd. Being pulled by the cables.
The whole view is the worst thing I've ever seen. Look at the view right there. Look how close the horizon line is. Look at the horizon. The horizon
look at the
15 feet away. Yeah. The dust.
But the answer will remain why he's not able to do something like, okay, now I keep on my needs, I pick up the tool, and then go into whatever place I need to go. Why he cannot stay on his needs to pick the tool? And then, of course, when you present this official comparison about, being to simulate the moon, behavior, being hanging, and that is Adam from
exactly the same. It looks identical.
Identical. So again, if you're trying to defend that, you are a complete asshole. I mean, you don't have any cure.
No.
You don't have any cure. It's like just it's over. It's over for you. It's over for me. It's over for the entire human race. If it's people like you, going around. And I don't know if you want to change topic. I have something to share about the Donald Trump thing.
No, go ahead. We could talk whatever, and whenever you're done, we can.
One thing that was interesting I saw today. I did a stream about this magazine from 1969 that came out in Brazil. The biggest Brazilian magazine, and the Brazilian researchers are passing it around, and it was celebrating the arrival of Apollo 11, of course. So we look into some of it, but what I ended up finding in there is that there was a city in the north of Brazil that said it was a space capital of Brazil, and there's an American base there called Barreira do Inferno, the Hell's Barrier, Hell's Bound, whatever it is. It's an American base, and they had rockets, and they passed on this. The magazine was telling that there was all these youngsters in their 20s and teenagers, and they were given access. They were taken into the base and told all these things, and became kind of ambassadors of the lunar program in Brazil there, and they talked about it and tried to discuss it. And the tourism agencies, and there was a Aerolíneas Argentinas advert saying that they were going to be flying Rio to the moon and back, but they would not have a stop flight. Like, there was not stopping anywhere along the way. It would be a direct flight, because that's what Aerolíneas Argentinas do. flight company. So all that was going on, and even space tourism, they were taking over, putting tickets for sale to the moon already at that time. So the same kinds of propaganda. And what I thought is interesting, because part of their program of mind control is to go for the youth and feed them all the information. They had posters, they had props, they had scale models and all that stuff, and let them run with it. Like give them a taste of the authority, so to speak, to keep to the theme and get them to spread that around. And then it takes a life of its own. People are willing to defend it, even if they haven't possibly verified it. They're just so enthralled, and they're discussing that. That's why I think for people from that period, who grew up in that period, it is so difficult to come around to realizing that the millennials are fake.
And we've talked about it. They spread all the manufacture jobs and all the engineering jobs to some 20,000 companies, 400,000 people. So wow. 400,000 people in the United States had some involvement in the moon landings. I mean, that just, again, everybody in the country knew somebody who worked on the Saturn V. And then when you talk about America's great and look what we did and this is our, it's fantastic and it gives hope to children, well, then everybody's very connected to it. It's the same thing going on with COVID. The reason this whole fear is going around is because, and this is why they make you wear masks, because you cannot step outside of your door without being reminded that we are in the middle of a pandemic and that we should all be fearful and we should all be scared. It's the same thing. This is how you get buy-in from people. And then you'll never convince somebody who's lost their job, who's lost anything, that this is a hoax. It's just, you can't. I mean, nobody's going to admit, wait, I wore a mask for 8 months for nothing, right? I mean, it's a great way of getting buy-in. They're masters at it.
And you know what? As a kicker, in the beginning of the magazine, they have a big article that I haven't covered yet, saying we arrived in Jupiter and Pluto by 76.
Yeah. And they can take great pictures of it. And I mean, anybody who's ever seen the Cassini images of, these are the final days of the craft on going through the rings
that
of
was
Saturn.
amazing.
Holy
that was
smokes.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
And did you hear this? I think you called Freudian slip or something like that.
Freudian slip. Yeah.
Freudian slip.
Yeah. About this. Can you hear the audio?
No. What does he say? No audio.
No.
Okay. Let me just show you two Freudian slip. Oh, how you pronounce? Sorry, guys.
You got it. Freudian slip.
Yeah, it's Freud.
Okay.
Freud.
Okay. Now
No audio.
No audio. Oh,
The audio
that's
is not for me.
no. Well, that is completely wow. And now, no audio.
No.
No, well, that is my computer. Well, I
what does he say? Just tell us what he says, because I think a lot of people have seen this.
He say like something like nice cheat, and he corrects
cheat.
Like cheat, like
He says that.
Mierda?
Talking about what? That stays false.
But but he immediately of course he corrects himself. It's the same kind of Freudian slip that when he mentioned the warp speed, the vaccine operation warp speed, he said we're gonna have a nice weapon. He's going to say weapon, and he said weapon vaccine, and it's a very. Let me just I send you via Skype this just 30 seconds video if you want to. Let me just stop sharing my screen.
So one slip is weapon for vaccine, and the other one is.
Yeah, if you want to present this Trump, it's a very short, of course, but for me,
hold on,
And the other one you said is cheat, and that is in the context of Space Force, or no?
No,
or
that
vaccine,
was
so.
no. The cheat one is in the context when he signed the budget for sending humans to Mars. At the beginning of his presidential. That's the one that I sent via a Skype chat.
Okay, here, I'll play it.
And okay.
I just want to thank you very much. And Dr. Whitson, I just congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done. Everybody here, what an amazing thing that you've done. Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done. Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done. Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done.
Look at Ivanka's head too. Watch Ivanka's head over there. It's great. Watch her. Watch her.
Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done. Everybody here, I know your family, but everybody here is incredibly proud. Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done.
Oh God!
Everybody here,
one more time.
Congratulations, amazing! What an amazing thing that you've done.
I can't get enough of it.
I can listen to that all day.
No, guys, you don't understand. That is part of the plan because he's trying to tell us that the land in the Mars land, everything is fake.
Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Believe it when I see it. When he comes out and tells me that, and vaccines are the worst.
But you know what? I've been following this guy. There's like he calls himself an ex-spy. He has stuff about the QAnon, not QAnon, but all the pedovores and all these horrible people. So I kind of keep an eye to see what they're looking at the QAnons, what they're saying. And this guy is one of them. That Robert Steele. I don't know if you came across him yet.
Robert Steele?
You know him?
No. I believe
no.
no.
he says he's an ex-CIA spy or whatever.
Okay. Now, the guy who is a really young guy.
No, he's got kind of white hair and bald, and he's making videos. He interviews a bunch of people, and it's interesting. So I was being watching, and then he has now just a recent one. He has that woman, Carrie Cassidy from the Project Camelot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she is saying that they're really going to the moon, not the way that we're told, but they're going through portals and wormholes.
Mm-hmm. Wow, nice. And Lord of the Rings is more believable.
No, and he takes it seriously, and I was like, wow. And essentially, what that is the MK Ultra programs where they drug these kids, and I know that some testimony of this say that they're time traveling or going to another planet. And put them in a studio set, drug them up, and put them in a machine, and make the whole kind of drama around it. When they wake up, they come out and they're the Old West, and there's a bunch of extras acting as if something's going on, and they basically fall for this apparently.
No. Wow.
Yeah, bizarre.
I never saw that. And the video that I just sent to you is in the 40s 41. He's going to say something like a weapon, and then he's going to put the audio because you have silenced the.
Wow, you're paying attention. All right. Here we go.
Yeah, man.
And we hope we're going to come up with a good vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Oxford and lots of different.
There again.
Million doses of vaccine.
No, I'm not overpromising. I don't know who said it, but whatever the maximum is, whatever you can humanly do,
you can press the arrow
and
keys.
We hope we're going to come up with a good vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Oxford and lots of different great companies, representatives of our country in some.
What were you saying? You said it's at 1441?
Yes,
we heard it.
Was. Yeah.
Let's hear it again.
Can humanly do, we're going to have. And we hope we're going to come up with a good vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Oxford and lots of.
Yeah, I don't know. So you think he's trying to give us hints? He's going to be our savior?
No, man. Not at all. That is argue with the QAnon guy is the same type of argue with the pro-globe guy.
Right.
It doesn't matter because they have the cards to play. If Donald Trump gets wrong, it's part of the plan.
Right.
It doesn't matter because they're following the queue.
It's coming eventually.
Drops, right? So that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to argue with people like that. I mean.
Yeah, because they come up with all kinds of explanations for. Yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have another video, but if the sound doesn't play, I need to fix that in my computer because it's a little more heavy. But it was like a compilation from the first speech when. J.F. Kennedy said like he want to have he don't want to have people that rule America coming from the Vatican, explicit, he said, from the Vatican, the Pope, or Jewish, of a Protestant, and no any ecclesiastical institutions must be, operate on the society. And then when you see all the governments that we have in our days, especially in North America, they are all pro-Jesuits.
Yep.
So it's completely the opposite thing. And of course, and I know really well the type of things that is happening with Donald Trump, because we have with a president called Perón, which was one of the biggest president in terms of what he did for the people in the 50s and 1950s. And of course, he also did bad things. But everyone in our days, they are trying to say, we are Peronistas. We are like, of the party of the Perón, and we're going to try to make the same thing that he did. Because, of course, he was like, for some of the majority of our country, he was like a hero. Okay, leaving that apart, Donald Trump, Cambridge Analytica, Steve Bannon, and all the things that they study about the community of the awakening community, and that is why they starting to introduce the deep state, all that type of words. It's very slogans. Slogans. It's very probably that they pick one of the image in terms of presidents, which is the most nice president for awakening people. Well, JFK, because he talks about the secret society. He, wants to get again the money printing system. He did this, that, and he was killed, and blah blah blah. So this idea of Donald Trump being like a super good friends of the Kennedy family, which could be something for real, but the thing is that I don't believe he represents the idea of JFK, at least in what he did in the public stage. Of course, the Kennedy are a really deep family in terms of the elite. They are not just, getting from the from the sand and look at that family. No, he are in the elite family system, but at least what he wants to the people in the public stage was something that at least, I prefer president that talk like him than president like talk like, Obama or whatever you want to mention. And I believe they took that image, they took that so-called hero of the awakening people, and they trying to, compare with Donald Trump and use it. Because if you take a look, all the things that Donald Trump said, he didn't make anyone of that. I mean, they never put in jail Hillary Clinton. They never go to, the important things, when they start talking about, we found 30,000 childs being rescued from tunnels in New York, and what?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not believing it.
Yeah.
Not buying it.
Yeah, what they talk about is the arrest of the things that did happen is João de Deus.
If he didn't arrest the Queen of England,
but it's never gonna get to that level. I mean, we see. Have you seen when there's a child jumping off the balcony of their castle in London or whatever, with the Queen? Yeah, what are you going to say?
Destroy the deep state. That is, I want to be, realistic, man. I mean, the real deep state are all the dynasties in the world. From Holland to England to Denmark to whatever you want to name it. And the real names behind the stage. That is the Obama. Obama is the CEO of a company called United States. What is going to change in the world if they put in jail Hillary Clinton?
Oh, everything comes true then. I mean, life would be great all of a sudden. No, come on.
I can't imagine that. Yeah.
Alex, are you still there? Alex, I saw that it says that there's a reality show where the winner gets to go to space. I actually think that if you went on that, you applied as a flat earther, you might get on the show.
Dude, 100%, Jaron. I need to be on that show, dude. But you know it's going to be fake bull crap, and they're never going to go to space, just like Tom Cruise is going to space. But, dude, just the amount of fake crap they put out there, it's just something new every day. Now, The Bachelor's going to space. I mean, what the fuck, dude? It's bullshit.
Alex, did you ever see the UK? I think it was a UK show. Remember, guys, what is that show called where they faked people telling they were going to space and they believed it? Space Cadet. You ever see Space Cadet?
I never saw Space Cadet. One of my favorite was like a Joe Schmo, where a guy didn't realize there was everybody else in the reality show was an actor. But I never saw that one. I never seen that
Space
one.
Cadet was one where they actually had these people like actually take off in a rocket and think that they were really going somewhere.
No way.
See, that's predictive programming. That's what they do with the astronauts, dude. They put these guys in some sort of simulation, because I believe the old astronauts they used to make
the astronauts are completely inside of the program. They don't.
Oh, they're in it. They're in it, but dude, they have to do some sort of brainwashing.
I think they do some brainwashing.
Yeah, I mean, they've
been up there.
Things. Yeah, I mean, it's like that series we were talking about, the Ascension, where they faked a whole trip through outside of the Earth.
Yes, but when it comes to the interior of the ISS, you need to be completely on the plan, because you're gonna be you're gonna be hanging on cables. So
I just think they go through such a selection process to where these guys are just, they think they're doing it for the right reasons. They think that I even think they think eventually we will go to space, or some of them might even believe that we used to. And we just don't anymore right now. It's dangerous, but we want to give kids a chance to dream about it and, to believe, and that it really helps fuel the human psyche. And they think that, if we show them the Earth as a ball, when they look back on it, and we talk about the blue marble effect, everybody gets really sentimental. These are things they just tell them. But that's why people like Don Pettit make it through some sort of 1 out of 4,000 selection process. Why? Because he's somebody who is willing to go along. Yeah, how could you just select him for anything? I mean, he wouldn't work at Jiffy Lube, right? I mean, it'd be hard to get him on that. So, anyway, all right, we've been doing 3.5 hours. It's a good show for today. I don't know what anybody has coming up. We've got, of course, Glowbusters on Sunday, so check that out, and then Jeranism Raw. Monday for me, Alex, you have anything coming up? You going live tonight?
I'm going live tonight, and there's a guy that had a viral video with like 35 million views of him doing the mask flash mob at Target, and like Dee Snider, he used "We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore." I guess I forget what the name of the song is, but Dee Snider called him out, and so this guy's like badass. I mean, it's just, and he said that I inspired him, so I'm not trying to take credit.
Nice.
But for me, I feel really good. But the thing is, now I'm also jealous because he got 1 billion hits, and I only got a few million. So it's like, what the heck, dude? Why didn't I inspire myself to go viral?
You're gonna have to do something better. I'm challenging you to do something
but
better.
This guy crushed me. He had like a group of people, and I'm gonna go in there with 3 cats. They're gonna arrest me, Jaron, and then my cats are gonna go to DPD, and they're gonna go to the pound. I'm screwed.
Right, it's the end. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. Should be fun. And Rodrigo, what do you have coming up?
Nothing. Just continue what I'm doing. Just don't know. Probably some streams and following some information, writing, and that's it. And probably gonna come up with finish the spacecraft index. See if I keep things that I want, that I feel iffy about, whether I take it out and then just give it out to patrons and follow through.
Sweet. And Iru, what do you have coming up?
Well, I'm going to premiere the chapter 5 of the Flutter introduction series, and I am working on the next 5 chapters.
And you're doing some great work. If people don't check out MPT Red Pill, which is his English channel, which is the second link if you look in the description of this video, follow that to the video he released. I don't know if it was, I saw it this morning, might have been yesterday, but the one of the guy in the classroom going through with the image expert.
Yes.
Yeah, great stuff.
It's a really nice one. And so I'm going to be working in terms of the English channel. I'm going to be working on the subtitle for the next 5 chapters, and of course uploading, maybe a few things that I trying to upload more English content in terms. Maybe I already made it, and I want to share with the English community, because I don't, I don't start to making my own live shows yet. Maybe the next week I going to start with that, it's taken me a lot of time to prepare the same things that I prepare in Spanish to do in English. But I want to start doing live shows, so I prepare all my motion graphics, the same kind of motion graphic that I use in my OBS with the Spanish videos. So I trying at least to give a good quality in terms of the video and images, and trying to compensate my English. So I hope you like it, the live shows, and of course everyone is going to be invited to participate.
Awesome.
Nice, awesome, can't wait. All right, everybody, that is the show. Also follow Dearth, of course, and Bob, Globebusters. Everybody's link should be in the description following the show. Give me a few minutes, and anything we talked about, I don't think there was many links today. Mostly was a discussion, but I'll put some links in the description, and that should be it. All right, anybody, any final words? Are we all good? Great.
We are good to go.
All right, guys, it's been fun. I remind you to do your own research, because when you do, you'll, you know what, everybody in the D-Live, real quick, I'll release the D-Live box before everybody gets upset and says, usually I'll close down the show and then I see everybody in the D-Live chat saying, but you didn't release the chest. What are you going to do? So give me a second and I will add some in here. Let's see. We're going to go with 500. Sorry, people on YouTube, you have to listen to this. But then we'll leave. All right, here we go. And now we're going to open the chest. I appreciate everybody on D-Live. Not a lot of people there. Usually there's a little bit more, but it's usually what happens. People, for some reason, when it's on YouTube as well, end up over there. There you go. But a good amount of people listening. We had a great amount of people yesterday, so thank you, everybody, for checking out the show. Obviously, support the shows. It's very important that you do so if you have the means to do so. If not, obviously, just share the shows, watch the shows. That's enough for me. But if you want the shows to continue, all of us have Patreons, where you're able to throw a few bucks here and there, and we appreciate it, and it helps us continue doing what we're doing. When things happen like what happened to Iru, he's able to continue, mostly because he has patrons. So, right,
yes, and thank you so much for all the patrons. Really, I mean, my main channel was deleted, and so everything was start over. So thank you so much for everyone to support me
from the ground up again. All right, guys, It's been fun. I think that we're all set, yes. And if you want to mail me anything, I forgot to show my address, P.O. Box 3044, Merced, California, 95344. Again, thank you so much to my patrons. You guys are awesome, and we'll be having another patrons-only hangout first Sunday of the month after Globebusters, so look forward to that. And that's about it. Now I remind you to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Be kind, don't lie, open your mind. There's truth inside. Till next time I see you, Sunday, unless I have a child, in which case I may not be there. But you never know. Look for me then. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.